Detroit franchise playoff record, and then it's the most for any pitcher in any playoff games since 2000, something like 18.
It was he was just nasty. He dominated from start to finish, and we talked about it yesterday because the game ended as we were on the air. It ended in our final hour of the show. Just like, whoa, this guy is so good, and the possibility of having to face him definitely once, potentially twice in an American League Division Series. That is a tall task that awaits the Mariners potentially if Detroit is able to finish off the series either today or tomorrow in Cleveland.
I feel like Detroit will be able to finish out the series. Guardians became the hottest team in baseball. I mentioned it yesterday, but if the Mets wouldn't have completely collapsed and missed the playoffs, we'd all be talking about how Detroit had a monumental collapse. They went from being the number one team in the American League leading into the All-Star break and a little bit beyond, had a tough July, started to bounce back in August, and then crashed in September. Coming up in like 30 minutes, we're going to take a listen to some of what Jason Benetti had to tell Brock and Salk about what was behind that crash and why he certainly expects Detroit to be heading to Seattle here in a couple days. That being said, the Guardians, for as hot as they became and for as impressive as it was that they ripped that AL Central title away, looked like the Guardians that they did prior to September, which is like not a lot of balls leaving the infield.
They did not
your
have
team's
a lot
being
of
carried
solid
by
contact.
Ramirez. Yeah, solid. I mean, pitching was fine.
Well, and heck, in that ninth inning, Ramirez gets on third base to start the inning.
God.
And we're in here watching it like, oh, this game's going to extras.
Let's go.
This is a certainty of what's going to happen. And then lo and behold, he does not cross home. He gets tagged out on a contact play for the second
$200.
He does not collect $200. No. And all of a sudden, Cleveland goes back to the drawing board for game two. So for those of us, me, I think maybe you, I think most people out there listening.
Kind of hoping the Guardians.
Yeah. Your backs are against the wall today. But I think the best case scenario is Cleveland wins today and forces a game three, regardless of the outcome of game three, because then that's another day where these two teams have to expend all energy to get a win. You know, no arm is left in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Everybody plays. Like, that is going to be the biggest dream scenario for the Mariners is if this series goes to a third game.
Well, again, look, it's the playoffs, right? Like, so there might be someone out, many of us who are like, oh, I hope the Guardians do it because, the Mariners can take them. The Mariners also have to advance. The Mariners also have to make sure they don't add on some rust over the bye. The Mariners also have to continue to win. Like, here I am rooting against the Yankees because I don't want the Mariners to have to face them in the ALCS. You got to get to the ALCS. Right. So I'm putting the cart before the horse a little bit here, and I also need to put some more respect on all of the teams that are facing off in the wild card round, because whether they backed in like the Reds or they were inevitable like the Dodgers and Yankees, it's just they're all really good teams with some really impressive players, regardless of whatever weaknesses everyone has. Speaking of, though, let's talk about the Yankees and Red Sox game. You want to talk about getting some opportunities left on base. You made this really funny tweet forever ago that you've been able to just repost because it's always relevant. And it was like the bases loaded. And
name a historic war without like using actual words or whatever. And it's the Mariners logo and bases loaded icon. It's great because it happens many times a season.
And I saw what happened at the end of that Yankees-Red Sox game, and I thought, oh no.
Bases loaded.
As someone covering the Mariners, I've seen this quite a bit. And it's where, you have a lot of power in your lineup. You got some pop. It's all great. But, like, sometimes you're going to strike out. Yeah. And you're especially going to strike out when you're facing maybe the best closer. Certainly in the playoffs. And all due respect to Andres Munoz, who's also amazing. Chapman is just unreal. And, again, single, loading the bases, and then
nothing.
Out.
It was, to see Aroldis Chapman buckle down in that situation and secure the Game 1 win for the Red Sox, that was huge, especially for a team like the Mariners, and I bet the Blue Jays were excited too to see the Yankees get off on the wrong foot. And as we've talked about, winning Game 1 in that wild card series is of the utmost importance because it's almost it has been a certainty of predicting who is going to win these wild card rounds.
Remind us of that number. It's 12 of 12?
Yeah, the last 12 wild card series, the winner of Game 1 has gone on to win the series. And I think
times.
most of them have ended in a sweep. I think 8 of the 12 have ended in a sweep. So
including Seattle's.
Exactly. Yeah. 8-1. Shout out Toronto. Hold that.
Hang that banner. You know what? Hang that banner.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if the Yankees are able to get eliminated before the division series, really before the championship series, because that's the only time you could potentially face the Yankees in the playoffs. I mean, what a boost that is going to be for not just the Mariners' chances of making the World Series, but also for the Blue Jays' chances, for the Red Sox, for any team that is not New York.
The discourse that's happening right now, the baseball discourse.
It's funny because Fangraphs before the playoffs, before the wild card round had started, had the Mariners with the highest odds to win the World Series.
And part of that was their path there.
Right. Sure. It is a very favorable path, and it gets even more favorable without the Yankees if they are able to not make a comeback.
Because I guarantee you an ESPN, predictor would favor the Yankees over the Mariners.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, the Mariners have not had success against the Yankees this year. They got swept in New York, and then I believe they dropped 2 of 3.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need
Yankees
to revisit.
Here. Yeah, we really
past
don't.
Is the past.
Yeah, and those series were a long time ago, but still, I don't want any part of playing in that stadium in October. I don't think you would. I don't think anybody would. But just seeing Garrett Crochet do what he did to that Yankees lineup last night, I mean.
Volpe at first, 1 out. Crochet, the 3-2, and that's strike 3 called at the knees. 100 from Crochet for the strikeout. Catches Wells looking, who chucked the bat away and helmet in frustration.
And I mean, just seeing those 2 dogs of Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet not only do what they did yesterday, but do it on the road to shut down an entire lineup, to quiet an entire opposing stadium. Ace pitchers, Stacy, in October, they just have a way of altering a series unlike what any hitter can do. I feel like having an ace-level starting pitcher or aces in your rotation is something that is just, you can't overcome that no matter how good your bats are.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's why home runs and strikeouts, I think, and this isn't like baseball science or me being an expert by any means. I'm not even a baseball reporter, but this is why baseball in the playoffs, home runs / power, slugging, and strikeouts are just so dominant. Again, Saris, in the last 4 years, teams that out-homered opponents are 95-20 in the postseason. Here we are watching the Guardians, a team that I guess the closest you could get to playing small ball. Yes, Jose Ramirez has power, and he's a phenomenal hitter, and he's probably going to be third. If anyone was voting for someone besides Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge for MVP, which they won't be, that vote would go to Jose Ramirez and what he's been able to do for this club. They hit a lot of infield singles. They do, they lean into just making chaos on the bases and just chaos ball in general. That's not really a recipe for getting deep into the playoffs. It doesn't mean it's never happened before ever, but there's a reason that teams pay home run hitters a ton of money, because then you get a team like the Yankees that typically always advances, a team like the Dodgers that typically always advance, and then you go to strikeouts.
Yeah.
Then now we're back to talking about the Mariners' identity and kind of who they want to be as a club.
Well, and to that point you made about home runs and strikeouts kind of being the formula in the playoffs, in the American League yesterday it was strikeouts. In the National League, it was home runs. The Cubs had the back-to-back home runs hit by Suzuki and Carson Kelly in the 5th inning that gave them a lead they did not relinquish. And then the Dodgers, you had Teoscar Hernandez with 2 home runs. You had Shohei Ohtani leading off the game with a home run. They were able to get all their power bats going in that one, jumped out to the 8-0 lead over Cincinnati in that one. But yeah, it's just more evidence to both formulas being what can get you wins in October. And bringing it back to the Mariners, this Mariners team strikes out opponents at a very high rate. And you know what the Mariners did a lot this year? They hit home runs, 230 some odd home runs this year.
They have the formula.
They have it. And I think when people, and I get that there is still some skepticism here in Seattle because it's been 40 some odd years without any sort of major postseason success. But this team, unlike any other in franchise history, really is built in a way that postseason baseball just kind of, it falls in their favor.
Yeah, and it's not normally a team that's been built that way. I mean, when I was starting more regular coverage of this team, your ace at the time, or at least your opening day start. Now, when I was a fan, it was Felix and everything was great. When I actually started coverage, it's Marco Gonzalez. It's just a different. You're looking at control. You're looking at like all kinds of things. It's just a complete or command.
Marco's successful career, but was not blowing it by anybody.
That's not necessarily the brand of ace that you want in game one of a playoff series. And again, no disrespect to Marco, no disrespect, who had a great career, no disrespect to any pitcher like that, but look at the starters we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's Logan at his very best. That's Brian at his very best.
Yeah. But yes, and every pitcher in the Mariners rotation, or at least who will be in the Mariners playoff rotation, I think is capable of doing what some of those pitchers did yesterday. I don't know if anybody outside. I mean, we've seen George Kirby strike out 14 a couple of times in a game this year. But to do it consistently the way Skubal and Crochet have done it this year, maybe not to that effect, but I think you can get 6-7 innings out of definitely Gilbert, definitely Wu, Castillo, Kirby, like those four guys. I mean, you're not going to need more than four pitchers probably throughout the duration of this playoffs, at least four starting pitchers.
Starting pitchers being elite was the theme of yesterday's games. Again, it wasn't the case for every single team, but it was certainly a conversation we were having for both, American League teams we had an eye on. Both teams, Red Sox with Crochet, Detroit with Skubal ended up winning those games. You also saw yesterday a theme when it comes to pitching of bullpens kind of falling apart. The Yankees bullpen was their biggest question mark. They have the worst bullpen ERA of any playoff team right now. Ended up giving that 2-run single, right? Was that it? No, it was a late RBI. Giving that up.
Yeah, Yoshida.
Yep. And then, you saw the Dodgers struggle there. Now they'd already built enough of a lead that it didn't matter. But does that continue to kind of be a concern for you for Seattle? Is those middle relievers or kind of like bullpen concerns? Because I will say, they tightened up in September. That final homestand, I want to say, what did the bullpen allow? No earned runs. This is right before their last road trip, I think.
Yeah.
So, the second to last homestand.
They were pitching really well out of the bullpen. Obviously, though, there's still some concern. I wonder what Vargas or Bizardo are going to be in a playoff situation. I also wonder, what are you going to get out of Bryce Miller if he is indeed going to the bullpen, which I think that is almost certain. I know Miller on Sunday was asked about that possibility, and he was like, we haven't talked about it yet, but I'll do whatever it takes to help this team out. If it means coming out of the bullpen, I'll do it. I think Brash and Munoz, there have been some hiccups along the way, but ultimately I have trust in them to get the job done. But it's just what's going to happen in the 5th, 6th, 7th innings. That to me is the biggest question mark right now with this Mariners team. Everywhere else, I mean, you look at what the formula was yesterday. I've seen the Mariners do all those things that they did, that every winning team did yesterday, and I know it's very much within this Mariners team to be able to match that formula.
I know we're pushing into headline rewrites. I just want to ask you a couple quick questions from the text line 425. Does Detroit winning today, let's say sweep 2, then they have a couple games off, make line up for Skubal to start in game 1 or 2 against Seattle on Saturday or Sunday, or will they wait until game 3 back in Detroit to start Skubal again?
He would be pitching on 3 days rest if he got the start in game 1 on Saturday, which I don't know if that will be the plan for Detroit.
It does allow them to potentially use him twice.
Yes, very true. But also, if you just win one of the 2 games here in Seattle, if you're Detroit, that is, I think, good enough, especially because with the series heading back to Detroit for 2 games, all of a sudden now the pressure's on the Mariners to get that series back. So, yes, you absolutely will see Skubal start at least game 1 or game 2 of this series, depending on maybe when that series ends. The Cleveland-Detroit series ends, that will kind of tell us when we might see Skubal or not. But, that would be I just don't want to see him twice in a series.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay, 2 more non-Mariners ones. Another 45 says, let's take a moment to boo ESPN for muting Wrigley after Cubs hit a home run. Yeah, you got to let the noise settle.
ESPN, I mean.
Let it speak for itself.
Yeah, their baseball
Let it
coverage
breathe.
has been lacking over the last decade or so. And I just don't know if they have as much like feel for those kinds of broadcasts because they only do like Sunday Night Baseball now, the occasional midweek game, so they don't have a lot of big game coverage the way like Fox does and TBS does. I hope they learned from yesterday's games, like, hey, maybe we should kind of let it breathe a little bit.
Okay, my last one's very fast here. It concerns the Yankees-Red Sox game. Another person asked whether, hey, Volpe seemed like kind of a menace when he was bouncing around on first, which I completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Aaron texted me and said, he wonders why Aaron Boone didn't pinch run for Goldschmidt in the bottom of the ninth because a faster runner scores on the Jazz flyout. Judge advances to third. Bellinger can steal second. And then you've got, like, once more you can have someone just dancing around on first, threatening to steal.
Yeah. So what's interesting, though, is that Paul Goldschmidt has actually been a pretty good runner in his career, even though he's 37 years old and plays first base. People don't necessarily view him traditionally as a great runner. But he had double-digit steals last year at age 36. Same with the year prior. In 2021, had double-digit steals. Like, this is a guy that has swiped bags in his career, has almost 200 stolen bases in his career. So it's not like he is a liability out there on the base paths. I think the Yankees had confidence in him to be able to run. But, I think Jazz Chisholm, obviously, he's faster than Goldschmidt. But I feel like Jazz would probably be best used as a bat off your bench. He probably gets the start today for the Yankees, considering I don't know if you saw post-game Jazz Chisholm in the clubhouse.
Oh, I saw Jazz Chisholm's back in the clubhouse.
Not even showing his face because of how disappointed he was in the decision to get benched.
All right, again, Tigers-Guardians ongoing right now. If Tigers win, they advance, and they will be the Mariners' opponent. We're going to talk about the Detroit Tigers, everything we learned about that team from Jason Benetti, who was on with Brock and Salk this morning. Right now, let's get to Headline Rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline Rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, the Mariners have announced Game 2 start time will be 5:03 p.m., meaning the Seahawks and Mariners games won't have much overlap, if any, on Sunday. What's the real headline?
So Carmageddon 2025 all depends on if the Seahawks stay out of overtime.
Don't do it, Seahawks. Don't
I know
do
you're
it, Bucks.
thinking about it. I know you're thinking
Every
about it.
Bucks game has been by one score this year.
Stop it. Stop it.
Let's have this game decided in the third quarter.
First.
Whether it be a blowout one way or another. One
way or another.
Yeah,
Curtis.
Hopefully Seahawks get the victory. But boy, that shout out to Major League Baseball for doing I think the best possible
right thing. I think.
Yeah, 5:03 p.m. start. There was a lot of concern that it was going to be a 1:05 start for the Mariners, which is the exact same time as the Seahawks scheduled kickoff, which would have then moved the Seahawks probably to an hour and a half to maybe 2.5 hours after the Mariners start time.
But you know why they could afford to do it? Because we're going to get Red Sox Jays.
That's right. Maybe. Hopefully. Yeah, because the Yankees off to a really slow start in their series.
No,
but
they'll make it 3.
Shout out to cooler heads prevailing here. And yes, it's still going to be a mess in the Soto area of town, but like it's not going to be, I think, as bad as it could have been.
Anyone else team light rail this weekend?
Oh, absolutely.
It's just going to be so chaotic. I don't even want to drive out and find parking because I'm afraid no matter what time it is. We're probably not leaving Soto until 11 p.m. I'm still afraid to drive. It's going to be so crazy.
Headline Rewrites.
Headline number 2, Lamar Jackson could miss 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring strain, while Dylan Gabriel has been announced as Cleveland's new starting quarterback. What's the real headline?
Turns out Shador did have a better chance of starting in Baltimore after all.
Oh, no.
If you guys remember, there was a report that the Ravens were interested in Shador Sanders, but Shador Sanders didn't want to be drafted by Baltimore because despite obviously the opportunity to learn from Lamar and a great organization, he wanted a chance to start, and Lamar's their franchise guy, and he's in his 20s, so it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, played the cards he was dealt probably about as poorly as you could do for any sort of draft prospect. No one's doubting Shadur's talent, but for whatever reason, his personality has not endeared himself to front offices across the NFL. And look, I get that he's got to look out for himself, but when you are entering the league as a fifth-round pick, you can't really call the shots the way that you did in college. And look, Dylan Gabriel has just been much more in the front office in Cleveland has really enjoyed him more than Shedeur, and so I can see why they go with Gabriel as a starting quarterback from here on out. But Lamar Jackson, though, missing 2 to 3 weeks, Stacy. Baltimore's off to a 1-3 start. Like, is Baltimore in danger of missing the playoffs this year?
It's so hard for me to think they're in danger of missing the playoffs, A, because Lamar's injury is not like a seemingly season-ending one, and 2, it's the Baltimore Ravens. It's hard for me to think that, but that defense has been an even greater liability than whatever critiques you have about them fumbling or doing whatever on offense. The offense is still scoring, 30 a game averaging? They scored 40 in their first 2 games and went 1-1.
The Ravens, they're missing Mike Macdonald. They're going to be missing Lamar Jackson here. The offense has not been the issue. I saw Nick Wright of Fox Sports trying to put, Lamar Jackson.
No, and I know people were saying, Derrick Henry. I was watching a great First Take segment on it. They were like, hey, Derrick Henry needs to stop fumbling. But what? No, the problem is your defense is allowing, the second most rushing yards?
Almost 40 points a game.
It's a problem.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, the Seahawks have signed Washington and O'Day legend Myles Gaskin to their practice squad. What's the real headline?
The most annoying Husky fan will be calling for him to start by halftime.
It's
me.
Like clockwork. Every Husky that becomes a Seahawk gets... the fan base just falls in love with.
That's what we do.
Like, why isn't Will Disley getting the ball more?
Why didn't the Seahawks draft Jake Locker?
Jermaine Kearse should get 1,500 yards every single season.
Will Disley should be brought back so he can retire as a Seahawk.
If the Seahawks had drafted Buda Baker, we'd be Super Bowl champions.
Make Steve Sarkisian your OC.
Gosh. It's every single time a Husky ends up on the Seahawks roster.
Heck yeah, it is. We out here.
It's so annoying.
Why do you hate Huskies?
It's the arrogance of a lot of Husky fans that has just...
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't Matt and I kind of push back against the trend of arrogant Huskies?
I don't know. When they were going for the national championship a couple years ago, I was seeing Matt wearing Husky sweatshirts for the first time in my life.
I did bring a lot of those in.
We became so insufferable. All right. Well, the Tigers and Guardians game is scoreless right now. Just heading into the bottom of the first, Tigers had a couple base runners on but left them stranded. If the Tigers win, they advance to face the Mariners. And we learned a ton about this team from Jason Benetti, who was on Brock and Salk this morning. That's next.
Get inside the huddle.
The handoff inside. He's going to go. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Taking you inside the VMAC every week. Thursdays, noon to 2.
Our guys show up to play.
Player interviews.
It's obviously been paying off. Just going to continue to do that.
Previewing this week's matchup.
We'll say they come out and just run the ball down the Niners' throats.
And everything Seahawks.
If anybody had a doubt, don't.
The Huddle. Every Thursday at noon. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks. Seattle Sports.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here. You can book now for an unforgettable experience. Let's talk about Hawks Peak. It is the place to be for game days this football season. With over 66 TVs, indoor-outdoor concept, the deck is covered and it's heated as well. And the food, oh man, it was excellent. All with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. Yep, you can go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Hey, it's Tim Hunter, former Seattle radio goofball here with 2 words that aren't funny. Prostate cancer. Get your annual checkup. Keep an eye on that PSA number. And if you hear those 2 words like I did, talk to the folks at Swedish Cyberknife. 5 treatments, minimally invasive and technologically advanced over the other options. If you were a friend, and I consider you one, I'd highly recommend Swedish Cyberknife. We are so lucky to have them right here in town. Do your research, but definitely visit swedish.org/cyberknife prostate.
Dave Wyman here, and we've been fortunate to hear from 2 Swedish Cyberknife patients this year, Andy Ryder and Tim Hunter. Both heard about Cyberknife from our radio ads and completed successful treatment, raving about their experiences. Tim was impressed that treatment only took 5 days. Andy hosted a large international delegation the week after his treatment. If you, a friend, or a family member is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife here in Seattle. Go to swedish.org/cyberknife prostate.
Huge savings on Dell AI PCs with Intel Core Ultra processors are here, and they're newly designed to help you do more faster. They can generate code, edit images, multitask without lag, draft emails, summarize documents, create live translations, and even extend your battery life. That's the power of Dell AI with Intel inside. Upgrade today by visiting Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Hey, it's Desmond Howard. You want to win the weekend? It all starts with the tailgate. And for me, that means Kingsford Charcoal.
They've been bringing the flavor, the smoke, and the heat since 1920. No wonder they're still the gold standard of grilling. So fire it up, feed your crew, and let the smoke do the talking. Kingsford, the king of the tailgate. Get it today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
The Bump and Stacy Show is powered in part each day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Hey, Brock Heward here for my friends at PCF Construction. You know, it was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, PCFgroup.com.
This is my life. This is my family's life. The people that work here, they're my family. When something's not right with them, it's not right with us.
We get notifications every time we get a review. And I said, how do you not let it eat you up? Sometimes I feel so responsible. And his answer was, I just look at it as an opportunity. We need that feedback to learn and to do better. I'm grateful for the feedback.
Big part of sales is the relationship aspect. People want to do business with someone they can trust, who's a real person. They don't feel like you're just going after their money. And when you take the time to get to know them, get to know their needs, not be a car salesman, but be a consultant, then they feel more comfortable with you, and just the experience is better on both sides.
It's not about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, helping people make the right choice. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Mariners need you at T-Mobile Park this week to help the squad prepare for the ALDS. Be here for postseason scrimmages this afternoon at 2 p.m. and tomorrow at 5 p.m. Tickets are just $10 and on sale now at mariners.com/scrimmage. We're going to talk a bit more about not only how the Mariners get this thing done, but what the next 2 days are actually about coming up at 10:45 right now. The latest on the Tigers, who are favored to be the Mariners' opponent beginning Saturday with Game 1 of the ALDS. Right now, Cleveland up 1-0 over Detroit. Bottom of the first, 2 out, no on. Curtis, Jason Benetti, Tigers play-by-play man. Is this about to be a hit? No.
Flight out to the warning track.
Yeah, F8. Jason Benetti, Tigers play-by-play, joined Brock and Salk this morning to talk about why he thinks it'll be a Tigers-Mariners series this weekend, what happened to Detroit during a miserable September that almost saw them miss out on the playoffs. And then just obviously the greatness we saw from Tarek Skubal, who the Mariners would certainly face if the Tigers end up advancing. Let's start for the explanation about the collapse down the stretch.
And I think part of this is they're a very young offense, which I think leads to pitchability. There are some specific places that you can throw some of those young hitters. And I think the league figured that out at one point. And still has, when it's going well, this offense is great. But there are times when they struggle to make contact. And we've seen that in the Cleveland series. I think part of it, too, is the bullpen just wasn't as good as it was last year. And
bullpen wasn't as good as it was last year. You just saw them completely collapse. What did you see from the Tigers, Curtis?
Yeah, it was weird. It was the inverse of their season last year, where they got up to such a poor start.
They were the hottest team at the
end
of the
had
year.
an incredible finish to the season, and this year got off to such a hot start, and then had one of the worst finishes to the season. To me, it's one of those things where it's like every team kind of goes through a lull in the year, and I think you want to have that lull much earlier in the season than the Tigers ended up having it, because they got off to such a fast start this year. The majority of the year, they were the best team in the American League in terms of record. Like, it wasn't until September hit where, they ultimately, cough up the division lead and now have to go the route of the wild card round in order to make some things happen in the playoffs here. But yeah, I think outside of Skubal, it was just, guys simply not doing their job with the Tigers. We've talked about how they had a ton of all-stars, but not many of them, played up to their baseball card in the season second half. You look at that stretch from September 10th through September 25th, only coming away with one victory in that stretch of games, and you look at the run totals that they allowed in that 9, 8, 6, 7, 10, 6, 6, 5. Like, they were giving up a lot of runs over the course of that 2-week stretch coming down the finish of the season here. So, and their only win was a 2-0 win over the Marlins. Like, the Marlins, yes, they were in it in the final week of the season, but no one was confusing the Marlins for the Yankees or anything like that. Yeah. So the pitching was not there for this Tigers team down the stretch, but again, there's still a lot of talent on that roster. So even with them having the struggles that they had at the end of the season, they're still definitely a team that is worth paying attention to. They've got a lot of good hitters in that lineup. Riley Green,
led them in home runs,
exactly.
36.
Spencer Torkelson put it together for the most part this season. Dylan Dingler behind the plate. He and Cal Raleigh, the only two catchers this season without a pass ball with the amount of innings that they caught this season. So a lot of good on this Tigers team. Definitely one that you cannot overlook by any stretch.
Is it the pitching factor that worries you most? I mean, again, they have power. They have good hitters. I would argue Seattle has a better lineup. None of it matters when you get to the postseason if you don't win. Yankees are a better team than the Red Sox. They're down 1-0 in that series. So I say this with the context of, like, nothing is given. The Mariners haven't earned anything until they advance. But I still like their lineup over Detroit's. Skubal is just unreal.
Yeah. And that is to me the only thing that I would be extra concerned with about this Tigers team. I think everywhere else the Mariners have either an advantage or they're even with the Tigers. Maybe not managerial-wise, because A.J. Hinch has a World Series title under his belt.
Lots of experience.
Yeah, tons of postseason experience as well, whereas this is Dan Wilson's first time managing in the playoffs. He caught many games in the playoffs for the Mariners in the late 90s, early 2000s, so maybe there's something to that. But, yeah, A.J. Hinch has got tons and tons of experience in terms of managing these kinds of ball games. But other than that, I think the Mariners have the edge over the Tigers.
Top of the second right now. Cleveland up 1-0 over the Tigers. No runners on, and that is an out. Here's what Jason Benetti thinks about whether or not the Tigers will advance, and also what could still happen here from the Guardians, who, again, are up on the Tigers right now.
That's my feeling, but the Tigers have to win one that's not Skubal on the mound against Cleveland. And, boy, the way Cleveland built that ninth inning yesterday with Ramirez scampering to third without his helmet and a throw that got away from Torkelson, I think everybody that's rooted for the Tigers was thinking, oh boy, now this is going to go 11 and they're going to win on something stupid, the Guardians. So you got to win one there, and they've won enough games in bizarre fashion against the Tigers this year that I'm not going to count any chickens, although I do enjoy counting chickens.
There are two people whose baseball opinions I really, really trust, and that is yours and also Jason Churchill, who we had on earlier. And you guys both made the case for either team to advance, with Jason saying he'd frankly rather face the Tigers than the Guardians, and you saying I'd rather face the Guardians. What are the pros and cons here for Seattle?
Well, the cons in both instances is the pitching. Gavin Williams was phenomenal yesterday, too, for Cleveland. Like, let's not overlook his performance either, even though it came in a losing effort. It's not like he got shelled. Detroit only managed 2 runs yesterday against Cleveland starting pitching, and then they got Tanner Bybee going today, who's just as capable of Williams as well. So that is a concern for sure with Cleveland. The difference between these two teams, the main difference is the offense. The Tigers can still score runs, even though it wasn't the case in September, but they've still got enough bats to where I would be concerned. Like, I don't want to face Kerry Carpenter. I don't want to face Zach McKinstry or anybody like that. I mean, Carpenter over the last couple of years against the Mariners has been a guy that has just given them headaches.
Would you say he's a carpenter who's been carving them up?
Well,
which is normally what
I would
pitchers
say
do,
Carpenter is not doing his job because he's doing damage.
Because carpenters
they build, they don't damage things. They build.
I didn't catch up to that one soon enough.
Thank you.
You didn't catch up to that one because it was terrible.
No, it was not.
That was one of the worst jokes you've ever told.
I mean, I
in honor of our friend Michael Bumpus, bars.
No, Bump,
you can't give yourself bars. That's not how bars work.
Bump would not appreciate that. He would not give you bars for that one. He'd be exactly
he
like
would
me
give
right
me
now.
bars.
Going, I guess Carpenter's like whittle, shave down.
I'll text our group chat.
Do it
to see what Bump thinks of that. He would give me a flame emoji.
Allow me. I'll do it for you. Again, the Mariners need you at T-Mobile Park this week to help the squad prepare for the ALDS. So there's 2 scrimmages happening today and tomorrow. Today's is at 2 p.m. Tomorrow's is at 5 p.m. 2 p.m., 5 p.m. Tickets to either are $10. They're on sale. You go to mariners.com/scrimmage. And Curtis, the plan for these is through 6, right? 6 innings?
6 innings.
6 innings, and just to get these guys kind of exposed. They want fans there. They want this place to be loud and ruckus.
From what we've been told, it's going to be very much like a game scenario where the PA will be going. There's going to be music.
They want chaos so that players can warm up to it.
Yeah, it's going to be like a regular game, essentially.
So again, $10.
And I saw, too, you know who's going to be the starting right fielder for the designated home team in this one?
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Hall of Fame. One Ichiro Suzuki. Dead serious, yeah.
$10. Mariners.com/scrimmage. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about how the Mariners get this done and what these next 2 days are really about. Jordan Shusterman joining us at 11. He was at yesterday's game and is at today's game between the Guardians and Tigers. And look, we have not quite gotten to Seahawks yet, but you got a game Sunday, a big one, Week 5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So 4-down territory coming your way at 11:15. Don't go anywhere.
Get inside the huddle.
The handoff inside. Shusterman. He's going to go. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Taking you inside the VMAC every week. Thursdays, noon to 2.
Our guys show up to play.
Player interviews.
It's obviously been paying off. It's going to continue to do that.
Previewing this week's matchup.
We'll say they come out and just run the ball down the Niners' throats.
And everything Seahawks.
If anybody had a doubt, don't.
The Huddle. Every Thursday at noon. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
After years of football and the injuries that go with it, my first thought was always go get surgery. Hey, it's Dave Wyman, but after a consultation with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine, my eyes were open to an alternative to surgery, and I'm talking about stem cell therapy. Well, and my buddy and co-host Bob Stelton, also in pain, and decided to go see Dr. Wagner.
I had a hip issue from 14 years of jiu-jitsu.
How's the pain now?
Everything I did before, I can do just as well. Hitting the heavy bag, sparring, rolling, all of that is back in play. This whole thing has been such a pleasant surprise because I really was of the mindset, I'm going to have to go under the knife. I'm going to have to get surgery. And this really saved me from that. I could not be happier with the results.
Whether it's a hip like Bob had, a shoulder, a knee, a wrist, an ankle, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine.
Do it. You will not regret it.
Hey, get the facts, hear from all the patients I've talked to, and schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Hey, man. Gaining weight? Low energy? Lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Home of your American League West Division champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit MuckleshootCasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
When the heat's an 11,
cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net
Get end-of-season savings of 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump while supplies last at Day and Night.
Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Save 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump, plus no payments or interest for a year OAC. Call for details.
DayandNight.net. New siding doesn't have to break the bank. We offer affordable options that add value and protection to your home. This is Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. And while we're at it, ask about our roofing, windows, decking, and gutter services for even more savings. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free siding inspection. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are getting to the Seahawks with a very interesting stat about Seattle coming up at 11:15 in 4 Down Territory. Good stuff on JSN. Taking a look at a WNBA scandal in the timeline. Before we get to any of it, though, sticking with baseball and specifically sticking with the Mariners. Yahoo Sports' Jordan Shusterman joins us in less than 15 minutes. He was at yesterday's Tigers-Guardians game, is at today's Tigers-Guardians game, and will be watching whatever winning team from that series goes on to take the Mariners. So we got a lot of questions. But I have some questions for you, Curtis, and me, and listeners. I want to talk about how the Mariners actually get this done. The relief of not having to watch your team go through their bullpen arms and eat up innings. And even if they do win in advance, it's still the need to advance. You don't have rust that you need to worry about, but you still had to fight through a series, and now you go on to a tougher one. There's a reason that you don't typically have 2 wild cards facing off in a World Series. However, there's also this not proven but like existing conversation about whether or not teams that get bye weeks have some rust they need to shake off. This was not the case last year, where the Dodgers and Yankees both advanced to face off in a World Series. Yeah. It has been a case in years past where the Braves have been knocked out, a couple other teams have been knocked out. How do the Mariners not just get this done in terms of making sure they don't add on rust during this week, but how do they get this done as in get to a World Series? 2 separate questions here.
Yeah, I think the rust is... There is not a ton of history to go off of because the wild card round hasn't existed for very long, especially in this format, which I believe dates back to, I want to say 2021, if not a little bit earlier. But just looking at recent World Series matchups, last year, obviously the Dodgers and Yankees, those were the 2 best teams in baseball, and they made it to the World Series. They didn't have to play in the wild card round. 23, both wild card teams, Rangers, Diamondbacks. 22, the Phillies were a wild card team. 21, the Braves and Astros, neither were a wild card team. And 2019, the Nationals were a wild card team. They made it. They had one of the most insane runs in the playoffs I think I've ever seen in my time watching baseball. But just in this current format, it's been kind of split 50-50 in terms of teams needing or teams playing in the wild card round. You've seen 3 wild card teams make it in the last 5 years, and then the rest have all been division winners. So I think there is a bit of randomness when it comes to winning the division series, especially if you're one of those teams that does get the 5 days off. Now, I think it's extra beneficial for the Mariners, and it looks like Brian Divish just reported just a couple minutes ago that Brian Wu is scheduled to throw a bullpen session on Thursday, which I don't think would mean he starts Saturday, probably not Sunday either.
Game 3?
Game 3 would be Tuesday the 7th.
In Detroit.
When you could see Brian Wu potentially.
Or, in Cleveland maybe.
Right.
Who knows?
Detroit or Cleveland, possibly Detroit. Maybe not so likely that it's Cleveland, even though Cleveland has the early lead in this one today. But I think the Mariners get it done by because I think their bats can definitely outproduce what the Tigers do offensively. Like if you're matching up offense against offense, but your pitching has got to be able to match what the Tigers do and probably outperform them in that regard.
Let's say that game 1 and 2 here in Seattle, Gilbert and Castillo.
I like their chances. I think I would much rather have Gilbert go up against Skubal than Castillo go up against Skubal, just because I think Gilbert can match Skubal a little bit better pitch for pitch than Castillo. But both of those guys, especially Castillo in the month of September, he looked really good. And so I think you're in a good spot either way. I don't think you're in danger of going down 0-2 with either of those guys on the mound. I think Gilbert is just as good, if not better, than the guys Cleveland's running out there on the mound. I know Gavin Williams had a really good season, but I think if Logan Gilbert had stayed healthy throughout the course of this season, we'd be talking about him in that same regard. I mean, Gilbert still finished with what? A ridiculous amount of strikeouts this season. I think close to 200, and he missed, like 2 months?
And the regression we're talking about with Gilbert is a regression from who Gilbert was last year, which was absolutely phenomenal. Again, you're right, still throws a lot of strikeouts. It's so hard for me. I've talked endlessly to Shannon and a couple other people about this, just trying to pinpoint what's happening. And it's so hard to do because you cannot eliminate his injury from the equation. Not that it's like bothering him and holding him back, but just missing that much time and trying to get back into it. For not just him, but for Bryce Miller, for even Kirby to start the season, is they didn't quite have the same rhythm that they were able to get into last year when everyone was healthy. Maybe it's not a coincidence that the last month of the season they started having their best pitching.
I think, yeah, definitely. And I think, too, you have this opportunity to get everybody healthy before this series starts on Saturday, whoever it is they're playing. And when you're a pitcher, like, extra rest, I think, can only be beneficial. Like, I don't think it's going to be an issue where you see a guy just look so unlike himself on Saturday or Sunday. Because I just think it's going to be extra beneficial for them, more so than even the hitters. I think this time off might be a little tougher on the hitters just because you're not seeing the same kind of live pitching that you would see over the course of a regular week. And I've seen this sentiment texted in a couple of times. This one from the 509. They say, what, the All-Star break is 5 days? Like, everybody seems to be fine coming out of that. The stakes coming out of the All-Star break are significantly lower than what the stakes are going to be this coming week.
It's also not 5 days.
Right, it's like 4 days. It's Monday through
Not to nitpick.
Thursday of that week. But still, it's about the same time. But the stakes are so much lower coming out of the All-Star break than they are going into a win or go home playoff
And not only that, but the team that you are facing coming out of the All-Star break is not always a good pitching staff, is not always the ace, is not always a great team. Now, the Mariners coming out of the All-Star break face the Astros, who at the time we all thought would be a playoff team. Obviously, in hindsight, they're not. But, like, the Mariners coming out of this break are facing a playoff team.
A potential division winner or a wild card team.
With
a
Tarek
wild
Skubal.
card team that led the division for 99% of the season.
So that's a different beast.
Right.
But the reason I wanted to have this segment and ask you these questions is, while I have some nerves about that and the ability to shake off the rust, I also think this is a very exciting Mariners team. They've been deeply frustrating at times this year, but whose team hasn't? Name me a team that hasn't at one point made fans rip their hair out. You simply cannot find one. So I like this Mariners team. I like how they pair up with either of these teams that are playing in the wild card right now. Looks like Tigers just got a hit, have one on. And I do, though, have nerves because, speaking of having something at stake, it's been a long time since we've seen a Mariners team that has.
Yeah.
So it's a new feeling.
Exactly. This is all new to most of us. I mean, heck, even 2022, you just had the cup of coffee in the wild card round and the 3-game division series.
And I love a cup of coffee.
Sure. But do you need this is like a tank. This is a thermos of
Now I want
coffee.
like a Stanley Cup of Diet Coke.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Do the Tigers or Mariners pay up best? Or excuse me, do the Tigers or Guardians pair up best with the Mariners? And what did we learn about the playoffs from yesterday's awesome slate of games? Jordan Shusterman joins us next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Get inside the huddle.
The handoff inside. Shusterman, he's going to go. Touchdown, Seahawks!
Taking you inside the VMAC every week. Thursdays, noon to 2.
Our guys show up to play.
Player interviews.
It's obviously been paying off. It's going to continue to do that.
Previewing this week's matchup.
We'll say they come out and just run the ball down the Niners' throats.
And everything Seahawks.
If anybody had a doubt, don't.
The Huddle. Every Thursday at noon. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
It is that time of year. I cannot wait for the weather to get warm like it is now on consecutive days. That means I can break the motorcycle out, ride to work, ride all over the place, and I love it more than just about anything. But I also know that it's not a matter of if, but when you get in an accident, what are you going to do? Well, I'll tell you, when you're injured in a motorcycle crash, don't settle for firms that say they're motorcycle lawyers. Trust the ones who live it. Law Tigers has been a part of the writing community for nearly 25 years nationwide. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year because writers deserve real support when they need it. Law Tigers is the resource writers can turn to when they are in need. Law Tigers is out at all the events and supporting all clubs and shops. The Law Tigers are always by your side. Your case evaluation is always free. There are no fees until your case settles. The Law Tigers, you never ride alone. Law Tigers, Washington's motorcycle lawyers. Jimmy Cook, 539 Broadway, Unit 104, Tacoma, Washington, 98402.
This March, Wendy's is fueling the madness with amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it. Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Switching to Progressive is a game-winning call. And that reminds us of other game-winning calls in the history of sports.
It was a doubleheader in August and really hot inside the concession stand. So instead of waiting for people to come to me, I figured I'd walk around yelling, "Hot dogs here!" And that's how I became the first hot dog vendor in sports.
Okay, not really a game-winning call, but it was a good call. You can make one too. Switch to Progressive and you could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Lowe's knows how to help make your home holiday ready for less. Get Select Style Selections vinyl flooring for just $1.99 per square foot and have it installed before the festivities begin. Our team can help you every step of the way. See a Lowe's Red Vest associate or visit Lowe's.com/holiday install to get started. Lowe's, we help, you save. Basic install only. Date restrictions apply. Subject to availability. Installed by independent contractors. See associate for details. Contiguous U.S. only.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Guardians Tigers score update. Cleveland up 1-0, top of the fourth. Tigers had a runner on second with 2 outs in the third, but Kerry Carpenter popped out. Next game on the schedule, Cubs Padres at noon. Mariners start time for Sunday. First pitch for Seattle and their TBD opponent will be at 5:03 p.m. Seahawks Bucks have no change to their kickoff time. It's still 1:05 p.m., and then that gives fans enough time to make their way to T-Mobile quickly. Speaking of T-Mobile, Mariners hosting scrimmages, 6 innings today. It's at 2 today. Tomorrow at 5. A ticket costs just $10. Go to mariners.com/scrimmage.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Yahoo Sports, Jordan Shusterman joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. And what a start. I was going to say from Derek Skubal, but we had a couple great starts in these first wildcard games here. Jordan, I'm going to start with the first game of the day, Cleveland and Detroit. You were there. Tell us about the environment.
I was there, and I am here at Progressive Field still here, preparing for. I did leave. I did go home and go to sleep and stuff. But no, I am back getting ready for Game 2. But yeah, what a showing from Tarek Skubal, and for the second time in 2 weeks, Gavin Williams basically matched him, and he was really impressive as well. But as we saw yesterday, it was all about the lefties: Skubal, then Crochet, then Snell, and man, oh man. I mean, listen, I understand that this Guardians lineup is objectively one of the worst to ever arrive here in the postseason, but Skubal would have been dominating basically anybody last night. He was unbelievable.
Jordan, how much does having an ace of ace alter things over the course of a playoff series? Because obviously a lot of teams have great pitching depth, but very few can have the horses like a Skubal, like a Crochet, what we saw yesterday.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. I mean, obviously in a short series too, just to be able to turn to someone like that is just massive. I mean, we've seen historically the last three years, not a single team that has lost Game 1 has ended up losing the series. So that alone is now again it's a small sample, but that's a pretty huge advantage. And just like that kind of presence that's looming at some point in the series, in the next round potentially. You know, if you're thinking about the Mariners and saying, "Oh man, they're going to have to face Skubal in Game 2," what does that mean? Does that neutralize the pitcher that we're sending out there? There's just so many things about that, having that one pitcher, and that's why those starting pitchers get paid so much, even though there is a lot of risk attached to them.
I'm deeply concerned about facing Tarek Skubal. Tell us a bit about Detroit's lineup. Again, I know Detroit lost that 15.5-game lead. However, on paper, they had 6 All-Stars, most of any team. When we saw the Mariners go in to face them ahead of the All-Star break, we were all a little bit nervous. They were coming off a bad series against the Yankees. What have we seen since then?
Yeah, I mean, they have definitely ran cold across the board, and a lot of that has been the pitching kind of coming back as well, which has been disappointing for how good they were in the first half, and Skubal and some of that bullpen that really carried them last year, a big part of that. I think on offense, there is real talent, there is real upside there with guys like Torkelson, guys like Riley Green. I mean, those are real sluggers, but they're also still fairly inexperienced and are, prone to strike out. And so that's what has been really frustrating for Tigers fans over the last couple of months is seeing those guys kind of come up empty in big spots. And again, very, very similar to the kind of discourse that we've heard about some guys like Julio and some of the other younger Mariners over the course of the season. But there's real talent there. And then there are also some other really impressive complementary pieces, guys like Kerry Carpenter, who absolutely crush right-handers, and who he certainly has had some success against Seattle over the years. And then Gleyber Torres, who He had an awesome first half, too. He's kind of cooled off recently, but that's someone that was, a leadoff hitter for the Yankees going to the World Series last year. So he definitely has some experience this time of year as well.
You bring up the Yankees, and they lost last night to Garrett Crochet. What did you make of their decision to not play Jazz Chisholm or Ben Rice in that opener? I get that they're two lefty bats going up against Crochet, but, I mean, those guys had tons of production in the regular season. What did you make of that decision by Aaron Boone?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I know that teams, and I'm seeing it here in Cleveland with both of these teams, that they always want to play the matchup, and the platoon advantage is a real proven thing. That said, I mean, Jazz has had such a good season, and Ben Rice has had such a good season. I can understand maybe doing one of those guys on the bench and saving them for later, but it also looked weird there where you end up putting Jazz in at the end and having him face Aroldis Chapman and, the biggest at-bat of the game, and that ends up looking pretty silly. So I understand. I mean, listen, when you're game planning against a team that has Crochet and Chapman, like, not easy. You've got a bunch of your good left-handed hitters. That said, I feel like you got to roll with your guys when your guys are that good.
Sticking with that series, you mentioned earlier when talking about Guardians-Tigers that the winners of Game 1 have gone on to win in all of that kind of expanded wild card playoff. Now, you mentioned like a small sample size. It's still 12 of 12 that have gone on. Do you think that carries with the Yankees and Red Sox series?
Yeah, I mean, what a matchup we've got tonight. Brian Bayo, who kind of slots into that number 2 after the Lucas Giolito injury, and then Carlos Rodon, who's been fantastic this season. So it's definitely an opportunity for the Yankees to get back there. I mean, I mentioned those 12 of 12. Only 2 of them have even forced a Game 3, right? Wow. So we've seen a ton of sweeps in this format. And that even dates back to 2020, which I'm not really counting that because there are a lot of other circumstantial factors of that make it harder to take seriously. But either way, that's just what this format has. Oh, yeah, some stuff that was everyone. Clearly, the thing that people remember most about 2020 is how the wild card round went in the Major League Baseball
that's what
playoffs.
sticks with me most.
So, right. So, but yeah, no, this format it just shows us that. Once that team gets that first game, they're feeling good. And by the way, it's not just the fact that it's the teams that have won the first game. I think home teams are 4-8. The higher seeded teams are 4-8 in these 12 series. So, and once again, we saw the Red Sox win yesterday. We see the Tigers win. The Cubs and Dodgers were able to take care of business at home, but that's another part of the advantage that just hasn't really proven true in these short series so far.
Well, here in Seattle, we're just playing the waiting game, waiting until Saturday. It feels like it's still forever away, but it'll get here quick. Yeah. The Mariners have not announced a Game 1 starter. Obviously, they're probably going to be waiting for who they end up playing, who might match up better in those two. But if Jordan Shusterman was in the dugout, if he was Skip, who is getting the ball in Game 1 for you with this Mariners rotation?
I mean, unless I'm missing something in terms of what was reported in the last 24 hours, like Brian Rue's availability is a huge part of that. But also what I just mentioned earlier, which is I don't know if you would choose your starter and pick a lesser starter based on one that's going to face Tarek Skubal. That feels a little bit wrong. Obviously, the Mariners are going to believe they can win any game they're facing, but would they rather have Brian Wu start against Tarek Skubal if they view Wu as their best starter, or would they roll out a Kirby or a Gilbert? So I kind of feel like based on how they're talking about Wu, that it's going to be Gilbert in Game 1. Is there that big of a difference between Gilbert in Game 1, Wu in Game 1? But to me, it's between those two pretty clearly.
Kind of looking over to the National League, the Reds just seem like a team that's kind of happy to be here, which I really respect. But that game was clearly the outlier in yesterday's slate, with so many others having no more than 3 runs scored. Just elite pitching performances. And that one, obviously, good stuff from Snell. But what did you see just from the Dodgers there? They look like yet another unstoppable force.
Yeah, and in a game where, in a day where pitching kind of ruled the day and you're seeing these teams really having to scrap to score runs, it was just kind of a reminder of what they're capable of offensively. Now, you still saw the flaws once again with the bullpen. I mean, the fact that they needed to use, 4 more pitchers after Snell is not a great sign, and I think a reminder of kind of their weak spot. But unlike the Yankees, who also had their weak spot exposed in the bullpen, they did not have any sort of offensive cushion because they were facing Crochet. And Hunter Green's awesome, and the Dodgers were completely unfazed. So that's what they can do. That's when you have Ohtani, when you have a guy like Teo starting to heat up. I mean, it is even without Will Smith, arguably the best lineup in the sport. So they're going to be able to give themselves that comfort. And just the Dodgers' big picture, you just have to kind of think about the fact that they are coming into October in a way better spot than they did a year ago. And that's even with having to play the wild card game. They are just healthier, and the roster is in a way better position, with the exception of the bullpen than they were a year ago, and we know what happened a year ago. So, yeah, overlooking that team at this point, even though they didn't end up winning, that bye, it would be very, very foolish.
Jordan, what was the more, I guess, vexing finish to a game yesterday? Cleveland unable to get the leadoff runner home from third with no outs in the inning, or the Yankees loading the bases with no outs in the ninth and still unable to push a run across?
That is an awesome question. I think it's still pretty clearly the Yankees, just because now, you could say, okay, well, Chapman's better than Will Vest, whatever, but the Yankees have a lot of good hitters, and the Guardians don't really. So, I mean, the guys that were coming up, it was a little bit different. And yeah, sure, get that run home from third with no outs. But no, I think that the Yankees one is way more shocking. And I think that in terms of the, like, how the Guardians did, I mean, you just have to think about how many things have kind of gone the right way for Cleveland over the last few months. And it felt like yesterday, with some of the defensive miscues and, some of the base running mistakes, and then just not getting some of the bounces that they've been used to, it felt like the luck was finally, for the first time in 2 months, kind of turning in Detroit's favor yesterday.
Speaking of that Yankees game, a lot of criticism of Aaron Boone this morning. No surprise, a lot of criticism of the manager of every losing team from their fan bases this morning. But I feel that it's interesting that some of the criticism has been about different things. Some people saying you shouldn't have taken Max out. Other people saying, oh, you should have pinch run Goldschmidt, or you should have done whatever else. What did you feel like there was a sin committed by the skipper in that one? Do you feel maybe like there's something that you had a question about that maybe other people didn't when it comes to Aaron Boone's game?
Not really, honestly, and I know it's a boring answer, but, like, Boone's going to take it more than anyone when he loses in the postseason. I think we are well aware of that. I think taking Fried out was totally reasonable. His velo was kind of down that inning. And, listen, I know the bullpen's been bad, but at that point, you do still have to believe that you can, with nobody on base and asking for 2 more outs, you should be able to trust your guy. And if they don't perform, they don't perform. Like, this is a great example where it's just like sometimes, actually oftentimes, the players have to do better. And, I know it's way more fun to yell at the manager and say that they screwed up and that if you were pressing the buttons, it all would have gone better. But I don't know. I felt like last night was just a situation of their players were better than your players in every spot that mattered. So that doesn't feel good, because I know people are already, mad at Aaron Boone as the default. But I didn't see that as a Boone. I think that the questions about the lineup are way more legitimate than anything he did in game.
Jordan, we have seen quite a few manager jobs open up over the last couple of days since the end of the regular season. I believe it's 7 now after Brian Snitker was announced that he won't return as the manager of Atlanta. Looking at all the job openings, which one would be the most attractive to you if you were a managerial candidate?
Oh, my gosh. What a great question. I mean, this is an unbelievable amount of turnover that we're seeing. And I don't know if that 7 is even counting Colorado, which not that would be the most attractive position, but it is one that I'm looking at, because these are, I mean, it's a competent answer, but man, these are all extremely different assignments, and different kinds of candidates are going to be interested in a team like the Giants or the Braves, who have, $200 million payrolls with a bunch of good players who are expected to win right away. That you could see that as attractive if it's like, well, I don't want to wait around and watch these kids develop and lose 100 games like you will with, the Nats, or maybe I think the Orioles are one that's kind of in between that. And I think that that's really interesting, right? That's a team that disappointed this year, has talent, but also is maybe not going to have the same kind of expectations as a place like San Francisco, a place like Atlanta. And we don't, again, that's another one with an interim tag that we're not totally sure. So it's going to depend on the kind of candidate that wants to get back in. But it is, I mean, again, it's so hard when this news comes out right as the postseason is starting, because I would love to talk about all these jobs for a full podcast. It's just not realistic for what we're doing right now. So it is something. I will say, though, that on the field before these postseason games, people are talking about this. Like, this is something that is very interesting across the league, and I'm really curious to see how and when these spots get filled.
All right, last one here. Getting a bye is unfamiliar territory for Mariners fans. So really common question we've been seeing is, like, how real is bye fatigue or rust? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, this is one that we kind of yell and scream about every year. Especially in the Mariners' position, I think even beginning to complain about it one way or the other is going to be silly. Avoiding the terrors of this short series cannot be, it cannot be overlooked. It is such a huge deal to be able to reset, to get healthy, to get your pitchers lined up, to give your bullpen a rest, like all these things. Whereas as we've seen recently too, we've seen these teams pick up momentum in the wild card round and carry that to the World Series. I think overall, though, a team like Seattle, this is another situation where they got a lot of good players, and they should be rested, and they should be ready to go against a team that is not going to have as much talent as them, and that's the reality. So if you want to blame it on the rest because they haven't done it before, that's fine. But this is another thing that Mariners fans both should be, but also maybe aren't familiar with. This thing is truly an impossible tournament to predict.
Yeah.
So as good as it's going to look on paper regardless, nothing is guaranteed, and they're just going to have to go out there and do their best.
Jordan, before we let you go, you got a lot of stuff to cover here in a very, very busy month. Tell us where we can find more.
Yeah, so, of course, Baseball Barbacast, we're rolling to Yahoo. Hopefully more than 2 times a week starting next week. We're going to be going as often as possible. But just 2 this week because of the chaos of the wild card round. So check out our wild card recap on Friday. And yeah, we're covering these games. Jake's covering Yankees, Red Sox, and I'm here in Cleveland. So you can read our words about Scuba and Crochet up on Yahoo Sports, and we'll keep it going all month long.
Yahoo Sports, Jordan Shusterman. Thanks, Jordan. Have a good one. Enjoy the game.
Jordan.
Thanks, guys. I'll see the Mariners next week.
Yeah,
oh, my goodness.
Let's go. Bye.
All right, see you soon.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game. With former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down to you, Stacy. What is a surprising stat you saw about the Seahawks through the first 4 games?
They have some of the fewest penalties in the league.
Beg
It's
pardon?
very interesting.
That's not the Seahawks.
Yes.
That's never been the Seahawks.
It is. Well, it has never been, but it is right now. So leading the league in penalties, the Jags, Vikings are second. Packers are up there. Saints, unsurprisingly, kind of a rebuilding team. Giants, unsurprisingly. Titans, unsurprisingly. I was shocked to see that not only were the Seahawks one of the lowest, but the Steelers as well. I know that usually the conversation, especially with teams with really good defenses or teams that try to be physical on defense, is just that the league, right? How many times do we see guys like Richard Sherman, just the league doesn't let you play defense anymore?
Yeah.
So it's
Michael
kind of...
Bennett would always get offside
Exactly.
calls,
So it's kind of gone hand in hand with having an elite defense, is knowing you're just going to get a few more calls, or even having a young offensive line, knowing you're going to get some false starts in there as well. But yeah, near the bottom of the league in penalties so far, which is interesting.
That's very encouraging. Second down. More stats. Tell us something interesting.
Stats.
Stat that. That was Tyler Lockett.
Yep.
Second down. Tell us something interesting about the Seahawks pass game in the red zone.
Okay, so this centers around Jackson Smith-Njigba's usage throughout a game. So he has a 40% target share overall. That is number 1 among all wide receivers, a 40% target share. Nearly half of Sam Darnold's passes just over the course of the season so far have gone to JSN. However, he's a 25% share in the red zone. That's still pretty high. It's by no means is that like near the bottom of the league. That's still very, very high. I think Hunter Henry leads most pass catchers, a tight end for the Patriots, with like a 50% target share in the red zone. So 25% still really solid. But I thought it was an interesting discrepancy between the two, and so I was looking at some of the reasons. So I think it's in part because the Seahawks have the second biggest percentage of run plays in the NFL. Philadelphia is the only one ahead of them there. It's also because Sam Darnold's yards per completion lead the league in 12.9, meaning that some of their touchdowns have been of more than 20 yards, so they weren't even in the red zone to begin with. But it's also because, and I like this one, I think they become a bit more democratic in the red zone as opposed to inside the 20. So JSN has just 1 touchdown on the season, despite being second league-wide in receiving yards. But for the Seahawks, A.J. Barner and Torrey Horton have 2 receiving touchdowns.
Third down. Stats on stats. Stacy, I'm going to need one more JSN stat from you.
So back to the target share. I mentioned he has a 40% target share overall, 25% in the red zone. I think another thing we can take away is he is so incredibly, obviously important for moving the chains. I think just like a favorite target on third down and must-convert situations between the 20s, his receptions have accounted for 18 first downs, the most by far of any pass catcher on this team.
fourth down.
I wanted to spend a little more time on our fourth down here.
All right, Stacy. Sam Darnold is top 5 in 2 very important stats. What are they?
Yes. Okay. So I think that when you get through, let's say, a month or less of the season, it's really hard to tell what to make of stats when you're looking at just passing yards, touchdowns, interceptions. Now, I know if someone has 10 interceptions in 4 games, he's having a horrible start to the season. Like, some things are just obvious. But when you're only, let's say, 3, maybe 4 games into the season, sometimes you might have someone like Russell Wilson that's like 5th in passing yards that you know is not the answer for the Giants, that you know is not having a good season, but he had a 400-yard game or 350-yard game or whatever against the Cowboys. So it's just a little early to lean heavily into that. So I really like looking at EPA per play, completion percentage over expected. RBSDM is a great resource for this. And that is also something that's usually more representative of performance than just yards. And in those categories, Sam Darnold is 5th or higher. So EPA per play is just a way to say it's expected points added per play, but it's a way to try to figure out what is it that this quarterback is doing. His scrambles, passes, is he taking sacks? Like the things that only a quarterback can kind of do that's impacting the likelihood of a team scoring on that particular play and then furthermore on that particular drive. So Sam Darnold is 5th there as of week 4. And when you look at some of the names that are really excellent in these categories, either category, you're going to find more obviously familiar ones, right? You're going to find Josh Allen. You're going to find Jared Goff. You're going to find Jordan Love. Shockingly, you're going to find Drake May right now. There's a couple surprising ones in there. Daniel Jones has been crushing it with some of this. But basically, that Sam Darnold's own actions, his like quarterback independent actions, are positively impacting each and every one of the Seahawks plays. Overall, it's an average. So EPA per play, he's 5th overall. Completion percentage over expected is another really fun one. In this category, he ranks 1st. So they calculate that. It's very, I don't know how they calculate expected completion percentage. It's their own, measure. So they might look at like a pass that is 5 yards downfield inside the hashes should be easy to complete. Your expected completion percentage, let's say, would be like 90%, 80%. I don't know, but that's a high expected completion percentage. An expected completion percentage for someone who's 30 yards downfield, outside the hashes, towards the boundary, back to you, maybe not a lot of separation. That's a lower expected completion percentage, meaning on average, you're not really expected to make that completion. So this just calculates the difference between those two. If there's a completion where it's got a 20% expected completion and Sam Darnold completes it, well, now he's positive. Now he's positive 60 or whatever it is. So he's got the highest completion percentage over expected, meaning overall, he's making the passes that he should be making that are, quote, easy. Yeah. There are no easy passes. But he is also making some surprisingly difficult completions. So I just thought it was an interesting way to look at it. Again, they're much more complicated than I'm making it sound, but I'm not a big X's and O's person, so that's the best way that I can try to
what that stat reminds me of is in a lot of draft talk, you hear scouts and analysts say, well, this guy makes all the throws.
Yeah.
That's what that stat is.
Yeah.
He makes all the throws.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear draft people say that he makes all the throws, it's like, I mean, I guess that's what quarterbacks are supposed to do. But no, he's really making all the throws. The difficult ones, the easy ones.
And you can try to extract certain things we've already learned, right? So, like, let's go back to EPA per play. And the things like taking sacks would be hurting your EPA per play, taking a lot of sacks. Well, we had Brady Henderson on yesterday, and he was saying that after the Arizona game, Sam Darnold is like top 10 in time to throw. So he's much quicker releasing the football than he was last year when he ranked in the 30s. So that's something that Sam Darnold has independently done that is probably affecting his EPA per play. He's getting rid of the ball very quickly. So you look at some of the problems he had in those final 2 games last year, and you're able to pick apart this stat and find little things that can impact that. Oh, you're taking a long time to throw the ball. You're going to get more sacks. So just another way to look at Sam Darnold's season, which I think has been so impressive through almost 5 games, week 5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this Sunday. taking a look around the timeline next on your home for the Mariners playoff run, Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way. But then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there. But on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested, even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer. You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures, until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Have you tried the dining district at the Bellevue Collection? Grab lunch with friends, meet up for happy hour, and stay for dinner and beyond. You can sample international flavors and local favorites from talented chefs. Try a new cocktail on a rooftop bar or watch the game with friends and explore the lively nightlife scene. The Dining District at the Bellevue Collection, where your taste adventure begins. Learn more at BellevueCollection.com/dining district.
Your home for baseball's postseason and your American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Life's expensive enough, isn't it? Groceries, gas, kids' activities. Sometimes your roof needs replacing, but your budget says not now. Hi, I'm Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. We want to help with an offer to lift that weight off your shoulders. Get 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. Or save up to $3,000 on a new roof today. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today.
When the heat's an 11,
cool AC would be heaven.
dayandnight.net. Get end-of-season savings of 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump while supplies last at Day and Night.
Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Save 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump, plus no payments or interest for a year OAC. Call for details. dayandnight.net.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. Mike Salk here, and it's now open. Hawks Peak, the place to be for game days this football season, with over 66 TVs indoor and outdoor. Go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Taking a look around the timeline, Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. A score update between Detroit and Cleveland. Tied up 1-1 in the bottom of the fourth, 2 out, no on. Again, winner goes on to face the Mariners beginning on Saturday. And one more update, Sunday's game officially has a start time, 5:03 p.m.
Thank goodness.
I know. So you're going to have Seahawks, Bucks at 1:05. Just Seahawks, Bucks at 1, Mariners, whoever, at 5. Easy way to remember. Okay, well, let's get to it. What will be the fallout of the explosive comments WNBA star Nafisa Collier made about Commissioner Kathy Engelbrecht? We may have that answer. As a refresher, here's what Collier told the media during her exit interview on Tuesday.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
So Engelbert released a statement saying she has the utmost respect for Nafisa Collier, for all the players in the WNBA. Together, we've worked tirelessly to transform this league. My focus remains on ensuring a bright future for the players in the WNBA, including collaborating on how we can continue to elevate the game. She added she's disheartened by how Nafisa characterized our conversations and league leadership, but even when
don't say it.
But even when our perspectives differ, my commitment to the players and to this will not waver. Sports Business Journal now reporting that Engelbert is expected to step down after the next CBA negotiations following those comments made about her by Collier.
Yeah, you can't. I don't think it was feasible for her to return in any sort of lengthy capacity after all this. I mean, this is airing out some of the biggest skeletons in the closet of the WNBA. And, like, shout out to Nafisa Collier putting herself out there like that, risking, fines, risking suspensions, calling out the league's leadership in the way that she did. Yeah, there was just it is a untenable situation right now for the WNBA leadership, and I think in situations like this, you've got to look at the main source of the problem, and I think everybody is pretty much in agreement that the commissioner is the one who is really hurting things between the Players Association and the WNBA, and also the ownership of the WNBA.
Candace Buckner has a great column in this, I think published this morning in the Washington Post, and she also calls out Kathy and just talks about the need for Engelbert to respond in the right way to this. But one of the great points, she makes several great points, but one of the points she made that I kind of took away from it was that the tone of women should be grateful for this opportunity, or like, here's your crumbs, eat it up is one that there are people outside the league already have. There are already battles that these athletes are fighting from people outside the league that are trying to diminish their accomplishments, have poor coverage, whatever. I'm part of mass media, and we don't cover a lot of WNBA.
Right.
Like this exists everywhere. And that you don't want the person at the head of your organization to be one of those people, that rather than say, be so grateful, this person should be getting out of the way and letting the league's stars help lift it and promote it.
Absolutely.
And there's something insidious about Engelbrecht clearly being a woman. Stephen A., like him or love him, made what I thought was that great point this morning, being like, this is coming from a woman to another woman who's standing in the way of these women shining and bringing attention to the league.
Wouldn't you want to do everything in your power to draw more eyes to your league and not have to worry about the talent in your league going elsewhere in order to make a bigger payday? Because that still exists in women's basketball. These women don't really have an off season because they have to go overseas in order to make money that can sustain themselves over the course of a year. And I get that, $75,000 for like rookie salaries for a job that is 6 months out of the year, depending on how long the season goes, but also you got to train in the off season to be as good as you can be. And it like $75,000 for what these women are asked to do, the amount of travel that is asked of them to how much of a commitment this is. It's a 24-hour job. Like no pro athlete is ever really able to unplug during the season. And and I get that a lot of people are like, oh, the WNBA doesn't turn a profit. Like, why should they be asking for more money? And it's like, well, the NBA itself didn't start turning a profit until the 80s when Magic and Larry were doing their thing. That is when everything in the NBA changed. And I feel like the WNBA has players of a popularity that transcends just women's basketball, that now have people in their league that the average sports fan can now look to. And like, we all know Caitlin Clark's name. I was actually, no joke, I was in a meeting the other day, and there was somebody that was being talked about whose name was Caitlin, and their last name was not Clark, but the person who was talking about them kept referring to them as Caitlin Clark because that's how inside of that person's brain
she gets in your head,
Caitlin
man.
Clark was. There is so much crossover appeal now with some of these WNBA stars. We talked about it yesterday. Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, like they're so popular, and like they definitely deserve to get paid more than just $75,000 for what they have been able to do.
That's the thing
in
too.
a short amount of time.
I don't think people understand the salaries they're getting paid, and I don't think people understand the salaries they're asking for.
Right.
Both of those things are things. I think that there's a lot that people don't understand, frankly. In fact, had Nafisa not said any of this, I don't think a massive amount of people would understand that there was even a problem with WNBA leadership. They think the issue was players asking for more when a league that doesn't have revenue. And it's like, it's so much more complicated than that. You've got players talking about all kinds of issues, whether it's like ref issues or issues with travel, like you talked about. Those are things that you want a commissioner to care deeply about.
Yeah.
Not to tell you, sit down and shut up and be grateful you have a league.
And again, people will shoot back at that and be like, oh, where are they going to get the money from? But have you seen the valuations of some of these teams in the WNBA? Golden State, the newest team in the league, is already valued at $500 million. You're telling me they can't pay the faces of their franchise more than
There's
like
an interesting logjam
$75,000
happening when it comes to money that players should be getting
the
paid.
New York Liberty are valued at $420 million. This is, Sportico, who follows sports business all throughout. The Indiana Fever, the team that employs Caitlin Clark, they're the third most valuable franchise at $335 million. Like when the Sonics were sold back in 2000 and I want to say 4, they were sold for $350 million. And they were paying their players just fine. Like you were not seeing guys, saying, hey, I can't make ends meet. When the franchise was valued at $350 million all the way back then. Like it's 300. Like there's money there.
And I don't think you can apply a very simple approach to business. Someone said you don't seem to understand how businesses work. This is way more complicated than just, you can only pay more if you turn a profit. It's about where the revenue's coming from, where it's going, how it's managed or mismanaged, and importantly, it's about opportunities to bring in additional revenue, additional eyes that are not being seized.
Yeah.
So that's another big part of it, is a lack of, I don't want to say lack of self-promotion, though that's certainly part of it, but like even allowing the players to take over and be so central to it and get more opportunities. It's just, you don't want a commissioner to limit the league in any way.
No. This is a classic case of a rising tide lifts all boats, and you want to do everything in your power to keep Caitlin Clark happy, to keep Angel Reese happy, to keep Paige Beckers happy, because this is a wave of talent unlike anything the WNBA has seen, and a wave of popularity unlike they've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And don't mess this up, because this could be something special. This could be a launching pad for just, something that matters a whole heck of a lot to a lot of people.
Going back-to-back Seahawks here. Mike Macdonald's Wednesday press conference coming up live around noon. He should be hitting the podium then. It might be a little bit late, but we'll be keeping an eye on it so that you get the latest ahead of Week 5 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A couple injuries we're watching here. Before we get to that, coming up next, how Sam Darnold has managed to change the narrative on your home for the Mariners playoff run. Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
The Tigers take Game 1 of the best-of-3 wildcard series over the Guardians.
Swing and a miss. Skubal fired up coming off the mound.
One win closer to a trip to Seattle.
Everybody on their feet.
For Game 1 of the division series, Saturday.
It's down, going to the wall. Everybody's running.
The home of your AL West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports. Hear every game live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Saturday, October 4th through October 19th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Saturday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
A men's health moment with Revive Men's Health.
1 in 3 men over 45 may have low testosterone. Revive Men's Health offers free T-checks and tailored treatment plans, so you can get back to feeling like yourself.
Learn more at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Hey, it's Dr. Coogan from Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. We've been fortunate to work with over 4,000 local people and help them hit some pretty amazing weight loss goals. I'm joined by 2 of them right now, Mike Salk and Ryan Rowland-Smith. Mike, you were able to lose about 1 pound per day for over a month, 35 pounds in total.
Well, as much as I'd love to take all the credit, really, I was just following the plan. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic made it super easy, and there really was no part I struggled with. I was eating delicious, fresh food, all while losing weight. The accountability from your team was great. It just helped me keep the focus. I felt catered to the entire way, and I think Ryan really had a similar experience.
No doubt about it. I just finished up the program, and I can't believe how well it worked. I wish I would have started sooner. Talk about motivation. So, thanks for the recommendation.
No surgery, no exercise, no packaged meals, no drugs or injections. Just delicious food and a plan that works. Schedule a free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossklinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
If you use the carpool or toll lanes along SR 167 without a Good-to-Go account, you'll soon receive a bill in the mail. That is a change. A Good-to-Go pass saves $2 on every toll. That is not a change. Learn more at goodtogo167.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Want more Seahawks content? Join me, G. Scott, on The Reset. New episodes of the podcast every Monday and Thursday on YouTube or on the Seattle Sports app.
Open enrollment for Medicare happens every year, but for a lot of people, it's still confusing. Hi, this is Herb Weisbaum, the Consumer Man. Don't worry, help is on the way with a Medicare Jumpstart Toolkit brought to you by the Insurance Commissioner's Sheba program. Find out what's changing and learn about your options for Medicare with 7 easy steps to get ready for open enrollment. Order your free copy of the Medicare Jumpstart Toolkit at insurance.wa.gov or pick up a copy at your local library or senior center.
Bonneville, Seattle, and Seattle Sports are looking for organizations that regularly distribute information about employment opportunities to job applicants or have job applicants to refer. If your organization would like to receive notifications of job vacancies, please notify Human Resources at 1820 Eastlake Avenue East, Seattle, Washington 98102, or email us at seattlealljobs@bonneville.com or call 206-726-6902. Bonneville is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Tim Hunter, former Seattle radio goofball here with 2 words that aren't funny. Prostate cancer. Get your annual checkup. Keep an eye on that PSA number. And if you hear those 2 words like I did, talk to the folks at Swedish Cyberknife. 5 treatments, minimally invasive and technologically advanced over the other options. If you were a friend and I consider you one, I'd highly recommend Swedish Cyberknife. We are so lucky to have them right here in town. Do your research, but definitely visit swedish.org/cyberknife-prostate.
Dave Wyman here, and we've been fortunate to hear from 2 Swedish Cyberknife patients this year, Andy Ryder and Tim Hunter. Both heard about Cyberknife from our radio ads and completed successful treatment, raving about their experiences. Tim was impressed that treatment only took 5 days. Andy hosted a large international delegation the week after his treatment. If you, a friend, or a family member is diagnosed with prostate cancer, consider treatment with Swedish Cyberknife here in Seattle. Go to swedish.org/cyberknife-prostate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy
weekdays 10 to 2.
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
How is Sam Darnold changing the narrative? I think we can say safely that he is. Again, I've said it many times. His numbers aren't gaudy. It's not insane. He's not leading the league in passing yards or touchdowns. He doesn't have like 10 touchdowns to no interceptions. So there are plenty of people around the country that aren't Seahawks fans, haven't watched a single snap this season for Seattle, and might look at Sam Darnold and go, okay, like I feel nothing. But we had Brian Walters on Monday. We've had Brady Henderson in this week. And obviously you and I and Bump have all talked endlessly about how impressive Sam Darnold's start to the season has been for Seattle. And not only that, but what about the possibility that he ends up having a better year in Seattle than he did in Minnesota? Something that, like, hands up, will fully admit I did not think would be possible, because I assumed
14-3 and 35 touchdowns.
And I assumed that a large part of his success were the pieces he had around him that you can't replicate. As much as everyone loves JSN, that you wouldn't be able to replicate Justin Jefferson. You wouldn't be able to replicate an experienced play caller when you have a brand new offensive coordinator. And yet here we are talking about a solid start.
Yeah, every number that matters in terms of quarterback play is up for Sam Darnold over what it was last year. I mean, 66% completion percentage in 2024. It's 70 through 4 games. Average yards per completion, 9.1, which is the highest he has had in his career by almost a full yard. The next highest he's had in his career is 8.2. That was in 2022 with the Panthers. And then quarterback rating, 106.5. ESPN's QBR rating, 65.9, both up over previous career highs set last year in Minnesota. He is playing better than he has ever played in his career in terms of, protecting the ball and in terms of just every counting stat. And you're right, Stacy. Like, heading into this Do you want me to just play that on loop? Matt, can you
Matt,
play
can you
that
cut
on
that?
loop of
Can you
me
cut
saying,
that?
you're right, Stacy?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of our offseason conversation was based around, like, what can the Seahawks do if Sam Darnold is even a fraction of what he was in Minnesota? And now it's kind of like, we're getting the Minnesota version of Sam Darnold. We're even getting a much more polished version of that. And it makes you wonder, like, what can this team do? And also makes you wonder, what can Sam Darnold do?
Joel Klatt was asked, actually, that question. He was on with Brock and Salk and talked about if there's something Darnold can do in this regular season to change the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is control your own effort level, right? And go out there and play well. That's all he can do. And then when the moments arise where we're going to judge him more critically, then he needs to play well in those moments. You know, this looks like a division that's going to be very tough and tight. It's not a division that I think anyone's going to run away with. So there's going to be massive games late in the season where he's going to have to play well. And more specifically, he's going to have to take care of the football in those games, which he was unable to do late last season. His growth, though, has been substantial from his early days in New York to what we saw last year in Minnesota and then what we're seeing here early with Seattle.
You know when a play arose for Seattle? When you were looking at 2020 and you are at 1st and 10 from your own 40-yard line with 28 seconds left and, you know, incomplete, and then you go 22 yards to JSN and you move down the field. Zach Charbonnet for 4 yards there. Now, there was some criticism about, oh, you're starting at 40. That's an unfair rule. We don't like that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you still had to make the pass. Charbonnet still had to move a little bit. You know what I mean? You still had to set yourself up for a 52-yarder as opposed to absolutely not making a 65-yarder. So it wasn't a Hail Mary to win a game. It was not running in for a touch. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs have spectacular finishes this year in their wins, obviously losing to the Eagles last week, but one of those was a touchdown with like 9 seconds left or whatever against the Texans. So like there haven't been those moments where that's all you're talking about after the game, but he's had his moments where he's had to deliver. And the only knock you could really give would be week 1 against the 49ers, a chance to win that game and you fumble. I did leave that game putting a bit of that on Darnold, just feeling like, is he, you know, pulling too far back before his release, and is it too much, you know, force or whatever? But that's me reading into it as a non-player, because what obviously happened also was Abe Lucas, Nick Bosa shoving Abe Lucas into his hand.
An all-pro pass rusher being an all-pro pass rusher and making a game-saving play for the 49ers. That was one of those plays where, you know, you see it all the time with like interceptions. Whose fault was it really on that play? And Sam Darnold is the one that gets charged with the fumble because he was the one with the ball in his hands. But, you know, just the context of that moment, like what could Sam Darnold do in that time other than what he did? I mean, I don't think the play was ever going to be there with how ferocious Bosa was getting to the quarterback on that one play. But I mean, I'm looking at just what Sam Darnold is as a quarterback right now, and it's funny because the quarterback that's going to be opposite him is Baker Mayfield, who's kind of who has undergone a very similar resurgence in his career, had the 40 touchdown year last year, and has become the guy in Tampa Bay. And I wonder, and we've talked about this a little bit earlier this week, like, what if Sam Darnold is going to turn into the guy here in Seattle? Like, we don't know. We all kind of thought maybe he was a stopgap until the next quarterback that comes along here in Seattle. But it's been a consistent thing we've seen in the NFL every couple of years where, you know, Mayfield, heck, even Geno while he was here in Seattle. I would put Jared Goff in that category. Like, I would firmly put Jared Goff as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, maybe even like a top 7 or 8 quarterback in the NFL on his very best day. So can you get by with that kind of quarterback play? Absolutely, you can. You can be a playoff team. We saw the Vikings win 14 games with Sam Darnold last year, so you can't tell me that's not possible. Now, do I think the Seahawks are going to win 14 games this year? That seems like a really tough thing to do, even you know, when you're the most talented team in the NFL.
Yeah.
But can this team be a playoff team with Sam Darnold as their quarterback? from what we've seen through 4 games this year?
My answer's changed to yes.
Absolutely, they can
Definitely
be.
changed to yes. All right. Watch high school football live Friday night for the Seattle Sports Game of the Week presented by STSPN. Glacier Peak Grizzlies host the number 2 ranked Lake Stevens Vikings live from Glacier Peak High School. Watch the game live Friday, 7 p.m. exclusively on the Seattle Sports app, seattlesports.com, and the Seattle Sports YouTube page. For full 2025 matchups, visit seattlesports.com/high school. Mike Macdonald scheduled to speak to reporters live for, I would say, his first official press conference of a new week, of week 5. So a ton of injury updates, including one on DeMarcus Lawrence. We're all kind of waiting to hear. He is going to be scheduled to speak at the podium at noon. We'll keep an eye on when he's there and bring you there live. That's next.
You're right, Stacy.
Get inside the huddle.
The handoff inside to Shusterman. He's going to go. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Taking you inside the VMAC every week. Thursdays, noon to 2.
Our guys show up to play.
Player interviews.
It's obviously been paying off. Just going to continue to do that.
Previewing this week's matchup.
We'll say they come out and just run the ball down the Niners' throats.
And everything Seahawks.
If anybody had a doubt, don't.
The Huddle. Every Thursday at noon. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks. Seattle Sports.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of speed test intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
This March, Wendy's is fueling the madness with amazing deals on their hamburgers made with fresh, never frozen beef.
Like a juicy Dave's single for $1 and a fresh $2 Dave's double with in-app offer.
It's such a good deal, we wrote a little ditty about it.
Get it for $1. Dave's single, order in the app. Dave's single, get it for $1. Choose wisely, choose Wendy's official hamburger March Madness.
Limited time offer. Participating U.S. Wendy's. See offer details and redeem at Wendy's app. Account registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Alaska.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal, book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Hear that? Sounds like simple. Valvoline Instant Oil Change simple. No appointments. About 15 minutes to change your oil. Then out the door and back to life.
Yeah, honey, on my way.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Expert service doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Padres Cubs beginning now in the NL wildcard. First of 2 there for the National League. And the AL wildcard first game of the day. Detroit and Cleveland are tied 1, all top of the 6th. The Mariners' start time has been updated for Sunday. First pitch for Seattle and their TBD opponent will be at 5:03 p.m. Seahawks Bucks have no change to their kickoff time, so that's still around 1 p.m., 1:05. That gives fans time to make their way safely to T-Mobile.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. I gotta say, while we're talking Seahawks here, Curtis, the Guardians are making this one interesting. At least. I mean, the Tigers have tied it up, but that the Guardians are in this late. These are some low-scoring games so far in the playoffs. The Dodgers, the only one to
Can we
really
be so
dominate.
surprised it was the Dodgers that we're the only team really to get their
But
backs
listen,
going
frankly, the Reds are also the only team to score more than 3 runs outside of the Dodgers
they got
yesterday.
The 5. It is a continuation of what we saw yesterday, just quality pitching. I would imagine that will stick around throughout the duration of this postseason. Like, we talked about it, and I think, what was it, Jason Churchill said to us, and I bet Jordan Shusterman would say the same thing, is like, these games are not going to end up 10-2 games. These games are not going to be 7-1 like it is on a Tuesday night in June. No, these games are going to be tight throughout. These games are going to
You're not going to have a classic Mariners Royals
no
free for all.
I hope not, but it's going to be stressful watching for sure. Get your heart medication ready. But yeah, we welcome it. This is what you play for, and I love just how tense these games get, especially in the late moments like this one.
Again, Tigers with 2 on, 2 outs. Still tied 1-1 there, top of the 6th. Let's talk Seahawks here. Mike Macdonald is scheduled to speak with reporters live from Virginia Mason Athletic Center any moment now. When he steps up to the podium, you're going to hear Matt interrupt me.
Oh my God, the coach is the coach.
That's
Stacy,
exactly
the coach. Why
what
are you
it's
still
going to
talking? The
sound
coach is
like.
going to be
Don't
talking.
panic. Don't get scared. That's just Matt letting us know that Mike Macdonald is talking and maybe giving some important injury updates and kind of keeping an eye on that. So, this is, I think, a really interesting test for Seattle against Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been in all their games by 1 score. In the first 3, winning by 1 score, and in the first 3, winning late in the final 2 minutes of regulation. Last week, coulda, shoulda won, ended up being a surprising win for the Eagles. So 3-1 now entering their game against the Seahawks, who are also 3-1, having won their last 3.
Right. This is a big test for the Seahawks because I think a lot of people point to Tampa Bay as the class of the NFC South. And how
they are.
Exactly. They've won, I think, 4 or 5 division titles in a row.
Baker Mayfield, incredibly underrated season last year.
Yeah, and they've got one of the best receiving cores, if not the best receiving core in the NFL, even without Mike Evans, who is on the shelf right now. But, Emeka Egbuka has been phenomenal to start his rookie season.
Their defense is also really good against the run, which is interesting because we spent all day yesterday with Brady talking about this team has 33 carries with no gain or with a loss of yardage, and that's most in the league, which is interesting for a team that wants to be a run-first team.
Yeah, and I look at Tampa Bay, and their defense is obviously well coached, with Todd Bowles being a defensive-minded head coach. This is going to be a real test for the Seahawks. You look at Tampa Bay's next few games, Stacy. I know that they've got off to the 3-1 start, but they're going to be in kind of I wouldn't say desperate mode on Sunday, but you've got the Seahawks on Sunday for Tampa Bay, the 49ers the following week, and then at Detroit on, I want to say, Monday Night Football. That's a tough 3-game stretch for Tampa Bay, getting off to the 3-0 start, 3-1, but let's say they drop 2 of 3 or all 3 of those games, you're looking at Tampa Bay kind of falling back down to 500. So they're in a spot where they've got to take advantage of these games that are coming up because they got a pretty tough stretch. In between, they've got Saints and Patriots on the end of October, start of November, but then again it ramps up at Bills, at Rams, consecutive weeks in a row. So tough schedule coming for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Seattle's got an interesting one here, an interesting stretch of games for their offense. The Jags and Commanders haven't been exceptional defensively this year, but Jags just beat the 49ers, and the Commanders have Jaden Daniels, again, been dealing with a bit, what was it, a knee for him and an ankle for Daniel Jones. I can't remember. They both got injured around the same time. So dealing off and on with a knee issue. They and a couple other teams will probably have some regression, but still highly favored as playoff teams, rightfully so. But the Buccaneers and the Rams and the Cardinals, who make up 3 of their following 5 opponents, all have defenses that are pretty solid up front. Rams number 9 overall in total yardage allowed. Tampa Bay is number 4 overall in yardage limited, I should say. So, look, we just spent 10 minutes talking about Sam Darnold and changing the narrative and, how far could this team go? Well, this is a kind of defense you'd be facing in the postseason. And frankly, this Rams defense is the one that knocked Sam Darnold out.
Right. Yeah, this is going to be a really good test for the Seahawks on Sunday, especially if you want to kind of see them against a potential playoff team. Just looking at their schedule, the remaining schedule of this season, outside of, you've got Washington on November 2nd, the Texans on the 20th. The Texans, I wouldn't say they're a playoff team right now. There are not many teams that I would say are locks for the postseason left on the Seahawks schedule. Tampa Bay, even though I just said they could potentially slip back to 500 here over the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would say they're still very much a playoff favorite in the NFC South.
They're going to win the NFC South.
I think so. Yeah. And it's funny because in the offseason, when we got the schedule, you kind of looked at it and said, oh, the Seahawks, you could be 5-2 heading into the bye. And I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility. I think, you win 2 of these next 3 or heck, even all 3. And all of a sudden now you're cooking into that bye week and then potentially getting healthier with guys like Nick Eamon-Worry coming off the IR. So it could be something good here brewing in Seattle, but this game's going to be really, really tough. I think I think Brady Henderson said he thinks it'll be a 2-score game. I don't know. I think it's going to be.
Where's your faith, Curtis?
I would love to have the Seahawks blow out the Bucs. It's interesting. The Seahawks have the second best point differential in the NFC right now.
And I think
44.
one of the best in the league because the AFC point differentials, I think the Colts are number 1 or 2 with less than Seattle.
Yeah, Colts are plus 40 in the AFC. Bills are plus 43. Seahawks are better than every AFC team. The only team that has a better point differential than them right now is the Detroit Lions, and I don't think anybody's questioning their credentials. I think they're a team that everybody's kind of firmly in on.
Did you see Kyle Shanahan asked yesterday which head coach could beat up Robert Saleh?
No. Oh, Dan Campbell? Yeah. Dan Campbell, I think, is winning every steel cage match amongst NFL
So he's
head
asked,
coaches.
hey, which head coach could probably beat up Robert Saleh? And Kyle Shanahan goes, I mean, me. And then he goes, no, he didn't say Robert. He said Sal or whatever. He was like, he's just really nice. Like, I don't know that he'd, like, fight anyone. And then the reporter goes, and what about Dan Campbell? And Kyle Shanahan's like, yeah, I'd probably take Dan Campbell in a lot of fights.
Dan Campbell's not losing many fights.
I don't know that there's I think that in my all-time, like, would beat anyone list, Dan Campbell, I think, is absolutely number one. Still waiting on Mike Macdonald. We're going to take a quick break, check back in on the head coach.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Construction. It was a couple years ago. We were seeking a complete outdoor living space. Molly wanted a new deck. She wanted to really make our outdoor space pop. And boy, am I glad we called PCF. Why? Because whether it's a very specific project or outdoor living, like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you completely covered. You know, Molly's an interior designer. She knows construction. She knows attention to detail. And PCF, they checked every single box along the way. And right now is the time to make the call. Up to $6,000 off your project, plus no payments and no interest until 2027. And you can save an extra $1,500 when you bundle your deck with a patio cover. Find all the offer details, get project ideas, and browse photos at pcfgroup.com or simply call today at 425-629-8476. That's 425-629-8476, PCFgroup.com.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here. You can book now for an unforgettable experience. Let's talk about Hawks Peak. It is the place to be for game days this football season. With over 66 TVs, indoor-outdoor concept, the deck is covered and it's heated as well. And the food, oh man, it was excellent. All with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. Yep, you can go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877 Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
The home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports. Touchdown, Seahawks! Seahawks! Ken Walker III! Get everything Seahawks at seattlesports.com.
Hey man, gaining weight, low energy, lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at revivemenshealth.com.
When the heat's in 11,
cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net. Get end-of-season savings of 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump while supplies last at Day and Night.
Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Save 30% off an air conditioner or heat pump, plus no payments or interest for a year OAC. Call for details. Dayandnight.net.
Imagine homes so well designed and so luxurious, they'll be setting the standard for decades. You're imagining a main view home. Now imagine a main view home on sale, saving $50,000 to $120,000.
Isn't that what Brett and Amy bought?
Yeah, it's a main view, and they saved a bundle.
What are you doing?
Looking at the main view website. It's now or never.
What's better than a main view home? A main view home on sale. Main view communities across the Puget Sound.
With football season comes colder weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here with Keith Dashafee from locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. So Keith, what's your next big play?
Well, Steve, right now get 40% off qualifying installs or no payments and no interest for 12 months on approved credit.
Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Mike Macdonald speaking with reporters now. Let's take a listen.
Maybe with Nick, yeah.
Did you recruit Todd Bowles' son?
Yeah, we had him up for a visit. It was good. I'm not the best recruiter in the world, so that's probably why I didn't go, but... We had a good visit. We had a good vision for Troy, but it's all good. Not bitter at all.
Did you ever talk to his dad about it?
Yeah. Coach Bowles came up and had a great conversation. Yeah, that was cool.
What was your pitch?
Wasn't good enough. We were gonna play him on the edge as a hybrid, off on the ball backer to off the ball. Play some 5 down with him. Let him blitz off the ball. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
Any update on DeMarcus Lawrence? Any chance he's going to be available this week?
Yeah, so with D-Law, we're going to basically play it day by day. Don't really have any, can't give you what's going to happen right now, but we'll see as the week kind of unfold.
Hey, Mike, on Sam Darnold, just how has his patience led to his ball distribution? You got 7 guys that have caught over 10-plus yards.
Well, I think it's his decisiveness on how he's playing. He's staying true to his reads, and he's rocking it when it's there, and when it's not, he's progressing and then checking it down or using his legs, and that's what we're asking him to do. And I think he's doing it obviously at a really high level right now.
He and JSN, it's early, but they're kind of established themselves as an elite tandem.
Yeah.
What have you thought about just that connection and how quickly it came together and their ability to come through when it really
I think it stands true for our entire offense. I know JSN has a lot of targets, and rightfully so, the way he's playing. But I think Sam's done a great job building chemistry with all the skill positions on our offensive line and everybody in that room. So that's where the ball's going right now. But it's been, like someone asked earlier, it's being distributed across the rest of the position groups too. So that's really important.
Has Darren Kendrick earned the right to compete for the nickel spot, and with Spoon staying outside?
Yeah, he's short answer.
What's the challenge? Baker Mayfield, what's sort of the challenge in defending him?
Well, he's one of those guys that, by our metrics on the extended play, how he plays extended plays, he's probably the best in the league right now. And so that's something you have to deal with, but he also plays on time. He's extremely accurate. He's got great arm talent. And then when he extends plays, obviously he's a great competitor, and he's got a playmaking, element to his game later on in plays. So it's a tough guy to defend.
He and Sam are both guys whose careers kind of had some ups and downs before finding a lot of success. That position in particular, is there value in kind of looking at guys and giving them second chances and things like that?
Well, I mean, I feel like our organization is the poster child for that sort of thing. But wise man once said, players are allowed to get better, and that's something we believe in here. And you got to look. You got a lot of respect for Baker. I think he's playing at a really high level. I think obviously his team respects the heck out of him. He's tough. He competes. He's won. We've had a lot of great battles with him when he was in Cleveland, and I think Sam's writing a heck of a story for himself too right now. So I think it's great what's going on in the league with some of the quarterbacks, bringing their careers to a different level as it grows. So I think that's pretty cool.
Tampa's a heavy 11 personnel team. When teams are in 11, does that limit your ability to deploy Nick or Big Nickel?
No. I mean, sorry for the short answers today, but yeah, no. I guess Nick can play against 11.
Christian Haynes and Jonathan Hankins, would they be able to come off their list this week and return to practice at all, or where are they at?
Both aren't coming back this week.
Going back to Baker and his ability to extend plays, does that play into his effectiveness in the final 2 and 4 minutes of the game? He's got one of the highest quarterback ratings in those situations the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's a great point. I think that plays a major factor into it. Being able to extend plays. The fourth down against Houston comes alive. That was a heck of a play. I think it's also just the spirit of their team, the competitiveness. That has probably another big factor in their success late in games.
Why do you think you guys have been so prolific, I guess, to put it that way, in terms of intercepting opposing quarterbacks so far? 7 interceptions as a team this year.
Let's keep it going. We got several games to play. I mean, I think takeaways are a function of how well you're playing on defense, how the speed and the aggressiveness, physicality. The ball seems to come alive when you play with that type of energy, and our guys are doing that right now, which is great. And we got to keep doing it. And it comes with complementary football, understanding when you can take your ops, attacking the ball when it's in the air. There's a lot of things that go into it. And our guys are determined to attack the rock right now, which is something we need to keep going.
This might be what you would call one of these layup questions, but with Leo, what he does, how much does he just affect the entire front? What opportunities that everybody gets?
Well, he affects it greatly. I think he'd be the one to tell you that. I think where our front generates their impact, I think, is the synergy of how they work together. So I think a lot of guys deserve recognition for that, and how there's a lot of unselfish football going on where the guys are determined to work together, and they're determined for the effectiveness of the group rather than just individual accolades. And I've answered this before, but they're not worried about who gets the one-on-one, who gets to go, who gets the two-way go, who's the guy that's going to drop, it's there's no drag with that group, and it's really cool.
How do you keep that philosophy? I mean, maybe not every guy is going to buy into that or whatever, depending on where they might be at in their career.
Yeah, it's just how we roll here. It's just the understanding we have, people we bring in, people on our team, how we coach them. It's kind of our way of life.
If DeMarcus Lawrence isn't able to play, would there be an opportunity? Who would be maybe next man up and getting an opportunity there?
Well, I think you look at the rest of the edge group that hasn't either has dressed or hasn't dressed, but guys that are currently on the roster. Those guys are practicing their tails off, so it's the same deal. It's hey, look, if he can't go and we elevate a guy, or another guy gets more snaps, man, great, let's go see what you can do, and in a kind of a larger opportunity.
Just to be clear on Lawrence, that doesn't sound like it's an IR, IR is in play, right?
No, not right now. It's day-to-day right now with D-Law.
Tampa plays a bunch of cover zero, and they're pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. What makes a defense really good at playing cover zero?
Well, there's several things. One, when you call it, and how the offense recognizes zero, what their answers go into it. That includes run, pattern combinations. So be able to, like you're one-on-one back there. And a lot of times it's not just spread out. They're condensed sets where you got to figure out who's got who. So disciplined eyes, being able to tackle in the open field, timing of the pressure, details of the pressure are really important. And they do that. When they blitz, they do it the right way. They time it up well. They take good angles. They keep quarterbacks in the pocket. They do a good job.
Anything else?
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And that was the latest from Seahawks head coach Mike Macdonald. Not a ton there, but let's go over a few things that we learned. First of all, no clear update on whether or not DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be playing in this one. He left that Thursday night game with a thigh injury. Right now, Mike Macdonald not ready to declare him out for Sunday against Tampa Bay. Says he's day by day. So let's start there with the defense, with the defensive line. Curtis, I would argue this has been one of the very best defensive lines in football through 4 weeks this season. What kind of impact could you have if DeMarcus Lawrence isn't there? And how much faith do you still have in some of these other guys that are part of that rotation?
Yeah, I think even without DeMarcus Lawrence there, who's been really good at setting the edge, I think I still have I think I have a lot of confidence in this defensive line, even without him. There's been a lot of depth. I think he is an important piece to what the Seahawks want to do on the defensive line, but ultimately you're going to need other guys to step up, and I think they have the depth to do so on the defensive line. I think they did a really good job of making sure that unit was fortified in the offseason, and I'm not panicking because DeMarcus Lawrence won't be there.
My theory is this could also be a big day for either team's pass game. Again, who knows what's going to happen? Sometimes I'll say something like that, and then it'll be like a 10-7 game, and I'm like, man, come on. Now I look dumb. But the reason I say it is I think it was Brian who asked Pete about, or God, maybe it was Jen, who asked Mike, not Pete, about the Bucs' use of 11 personnel, leaning heavy on those wide receivers, obviously. Conversely, while the Seahawks are running the ball more than almost anyone in football, they are going against a team that is allowing, I think, the 4th or 5th fewest rushing yards per attempt. So you are going against one of the best run defenses. You have one of the league's best run defenses. And these are two teams that still have some real weapons in the pass game to turn to and quarterbacks who are not afraid to make those plays. I think we could be in for a high-scoring Week 5 game.
I think it's very possible. I think we could definitely see, 30-plus points put up on the board. I think this team is one that is firing on offense, and I think the Bucs defense is one that could potentially allow some points here on Sunday.
We do we go to headline rewrites?
Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll do headline rewrites, NFL headlines, just as we do in the 12 o'clock hour.
Hawks Live. Touchdown! Presented by the Dining District at the Bellevue Collection. Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Live from Bellevue Square's center court. Come on by and join hosts Michael Bumpus and Paul Moyer and a different Seahawks player every week.
This should be fun.
Hawks Live. Thursday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. Exclusively on the home of the Seahawks. Seattle Sports on 710 and the Seattle Sports app.
This sandwich, it's a complete game changer. Hello, this is Mike, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club is that juicy chicken with that toasty pretzel bun. That bun, it's crispy, cozy, just amazing. With the pretzel bun, the Dijon mustard, and the chicken, it makes that sweet, savory kind of combination. It's everything that you love about food rolled into one. It looks phenomenal. It tastes great. It's delicious.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different. Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Sometimes even heroes need rescuing.
I'm a retired firefighter, 27 years.
Kurt had severe pain in his knees and his shoulder, which was keeping him from enjoying his well-deserved retirement.
Loved to ski, loved to fish, and couldn't even walk 18 holes.
That's why Kurt decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
He was just awesome. He goes, yeah, give me a shot. And he took care of me. He stemmed my knee and my shoulder.
And how are you feeling now?
I was pain-free in 12 weeks. I play golf now pain-free, and it's awesome.
So you'd recommend this treatment to others in your situation?
Absolutely. Yeah, Dr. Wagner's, he's had a couple people call me, and I recommended that they do it.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's about grit.
Leonard Williams drags him down.
Running through whatever gets in your way.
The handoff to Charbonnet. Stiff arms a man, turns, first down. Oh my goodness! What a blast!
Fighting for every yard.
The handoff to Walker. He breaks a tackle, comes back to the near side, stumbles across the 10, breaks the tackle. Touchdown! Seahawks!
And a drive that never ends. Celebrating 50 seasons of Seahawks football. Visit Seahawks.com/tickets today.
The home of your American League West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports.
Are you frustrated with those trendy weight loss shots and not getting the long-term results you really want? This is Dr. Ryan Coogan with Eastside Weight Loss, and whether you've hit a plateau, can't handle the side effects, or watch the pounds creep back after stopping, there's a better way. Our program has helped over 4,000 people lose up to 10 to 20% of their body weight in just 8 weeks without expensive injections or uncomfortable side effects. Our doctor-developed program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast. Ready for real lasting results? Visit eastsideweightlossclinic.com now to schedule your free consultation.
Did he just say Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is half the cost and works twice as fast as weight loss injections? Well, if that's not reason enough, you don't risk the scary side effects or gaining the weight back as soon as you stop. Eastside Weight Loss Clinic is natural, and it works.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two, and you can do our program remotely from anywhere you live. Schedule your free consultation at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. That's eastsideweightlossclinic.com.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, D.C. Results may vary.
When your outside matches how you feel on the inside, that's kindness. And so I think that is the one thing that the Lee Johnson Auto family encourages us, is to be like really authentic and really be intentional in how we treat our customers and how we treat each other.
To have a good company, have a good culture, have a good crew that takes care of your customer base, you have to take care of your crew. You can't have miserable people and expect them to give a customer a good experience.
Walking in here, meeting some of the employees already before I was even hired on, welcoming me in, gave me a good indication what this company was all about. So if I were to make an hour and a half drive here and to have fun here for 8 to 9 hours a day versus if it's the other way around, then I'll take it.
It's not a script. It's a belief. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, the Mariners have announced Game 2 start time will be 5:03 p.m., which means the Seahawks and Mariners games won't have much overlap, if any, on Sunday.
Fingers crossed.
What's the real headline?
Carmageddon 2025. All depends on whether the Seahawks are going into overtime.
Don't do it.
Look.
Don't do it, Seahawks.
Sam, Jackson,
Don't you dare do it.
AJ, Clint, Michael, you all know what you have to do.
Jackson,
Get this game done in 4 quarters.
please.
Or less.
Yeah. If it's anything like the last home game,
Yeah.
where the game is pretty much decided
People
by
just
halftime,
start making their way over.
yeah, I think that would be great.
It's like a good problem to have. Here I am complaining about Carmageddon. It is going to be weird. A lot of people outside of Seattle don't understand the geography of Seattle in general, but also the geography of these two stadiums being right next to each other, and
Yes.
Seattle being a city that is not massive. It's roughly the same size as Boston. This isn't like a spread out 50-minute drive
No.
between stadiums with lots of parking lots. There's 2 garages. There's not a massive area to. People don't get it. If you're not
Yeah.
from the city or not from the state, I should
And
say. A
there's
lot
just-
of folks not from the city.
There's
but
not a lot of good public transportation
No.
in that area either.
It's a good nightmare to have. It's going to
It
be
is.
hectic getting there, but it's going to be fun once you're there. Everyone's going to, we're going to be there. We're so excited. All of us are just going to get there early and just be aware that there's going to be lines and crowds and be good to people.
Text into the text line 866-979-3776 if you have tickets to both games. If you're going to pull off the doubleheader.
You got to do it. You got to do it. There are tens of thousands of people going to both.
Pack some throat lozenges because you're going to be screaming your head off at both of those games.
Yeah.
Man, I can't do both because I'm working the Seahawks
Those
game
are our strongest fighters
on
out there.
Sunday. They are. The gnarliest, craziest, most
Doing a great
insane
job.
psychos.
Salute.
But you keep us in business, so I appreciate that. But yeah, that's going to be I'm glad cooler heads prevailed. I'm glad Major League Baseball did the reasonable, sensible thing instead of forcing the Mariners to have first pitch around 1 o'clock the same time the Seahawks were scheduled to have theirs. That would have been a mess. I get that maybe the Mariners and whether it be Tigers or Guardians
Still
in
1-0.
that division series might not be the kind of draw that Red Sox Blue Jays or Yankees Blue Jays would be. But you know what? Like, at the end of the day, you got to think of the people. You got to think of the fans in these markets because having games start at the exact same time in this
Yeah.
town, as close as those stadiums are, I mean, heck.
Just so you could bet the Yanks in prime time.
Yeah, every fly ball to left field, you can see Lumen Field. Like, it's right there. So, yeah, glad Major League Baseball did the right thing and moved the game back to 5 p.m.
Headline rewrites.
Line number 2, Lamar Jackson could miss 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring strain, while Dylan Gabriel has been announced as Cleveland's new starting quarterback. He's taken over for Joe Flacco. What's the real headline?
Turns out Shador did have a better chance of starting in Baltimore after all. If you guys remember, there
weird.
was a story that came out about 2 weeks ago that the Baltimore Ravens were interested in drafting Shador, but that he wanted to play for an organization where he had an easier path to start. Now, technically, he did have an easier path to start with a 40-something-year-old Joe Flacco in Cleveland compared to a 20-something-year-old Lamar Jackson that's a multi-time MVP and not going anywhere. Like, he wasn't wrong there. But let me tell you what, Lamar's backup is probably starting in this one, whereas Shador will not be. We'll talk about that more in NFL headlines.
Yeah, Shador is going to be sitting on the bench continually in Cleveland. And I don't know, Dylan Gabriel seems to be much more the guy in terms of like the future in Cleveland compared to Shador Sanders. And maybe it's because Dylan Gabriel, hasn't necessarily rocked the boat that much. Man, there was that one quote that Gabriel had though in the preseason where he's like, what did he say? It was about entertainers. Like there's entertainers and there's actual
I don't
players.
remember what it was.
And people are like, whoa, is he?
Bump and I were arguing
Is he
over
talking
whether or
about
not
Shador?
I didn't think he was, and Bump was like, he definitely was. I can't make up my mind either way. I'm not like a Dylan Gabriel fan. It wasn't like I'm
think
giving
I've
him the
got the
benefit of the doubt. It was
here.
just that I was like, that would be so dumb.
Here we go.
Okay.
It's just part of it. There's entertainers and there's competitors. And I totally understand that. And my job is to compete. And that's what I'm focused on doing. Of course, we're doing this mid-game, but, it's something that I'll get used to and just want to be the best team that I can and create an environment where we can all go do our best work. That's what we want to do.
I still think he's talking about like Stephen A.
I
and
think
those
so,
guys.
too.
I think that's who he's talking about because no offense to Shador, but you're not an entertainer. So there's entertainers is just talking about people whose job it is, mine, yours, everyone on TV, everyone everywhere that isn't playing, whose job it is to not just provide facts and info, but your job is to be entertaining and to have fun while you're talking. And I do not see that as a shot at Shedeur. Doesn't mean he likes them. It doesn't mean they're friends. But I don't see that as it being about Shedeur because Shedeur is not an entertainer.
Gabriel won a lot of games in college. 46-17 in his college career over 5+ seasons between UCF, Oklahoma, and Oregon. Obviously, the Ducks last year getting off to that 13-0 start, then just got railroaded in the Rose Bowl. But yeah, Gabriel, I mean, he put up a ton of numbers in college. Not to say that Shedeur didn't, but I can see why Gabriel's resume is a draw for the Browns because of what he's able to accomplish. But yeah, I'm not seeing it right now from Shedeur Sanders. We'll actually talk a little bit here coming up about something Shedeur Sanders did today.
Weird.
Yes,
it's weird.
It is certifiably weird.
You're going to need to look up the video, obviously, in an audio
it's
format.
It's not going to work audio-wise.
So we're all going to do this together. But it is, I didn't know about it until you told me. I had missed this. And now
we have to talk about it.
I cannot. But we got to wait a couple minutes. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, the Seahawks have signed Washington and O'Day legend Myles Gaskin to their practice squad. What's the real headline?
The most annoying Husky you know will be calling for him to start by halftime.
Oh, my goodness.
I think he should. Let
Go
him get a
Dogs.
chance. Go Dogs. That's me and Matt being awful Huskies fans.
Yeah.
Go Dogs. Dogs.
Jeez.
Woof, woof.
Gaskin has at least had some success in the NFL. Ran for 508 yards in 2020, 600 yards in 2021, but has only appeared in 7 games since that 2021 season. Hasn't appeared in any since 2023, so definitely has bounced around. But congrats to Husky fans who get to see Myles Gaskin in a Seahawk uniform.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Why are you jealous?
I'm not.
If they signed a former Arizona Wildcat, you'd be here like...
That's the thing is that it's been a long time since an Arizona guy has ever played for the Seahawks.
Yeah. Who's the last one?
It's been a long... They had a guy named Austin Hill in training camp a few years ago. He was a wide receiver. Other than that, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Wonder what they have against the Wildcats.
I don't know.
Not a great football team.
Probably because they haven't produced a lot of talent. Although they've had a few high draft picks over the last couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's cool though that Gaskin, being a hometown kid too, O'Day gets to play for his hometown team finally. It's cool that Abe Lucas gets to do that. Yeah. Obviously, that's an awesome thing to see is all these hometown guys get to play for them.
And regardless of team, I always feel so great for guys who get a chance to do that. Saucedo, whoever else it is, where it's like, it's still a tough path. You're still going to have people give you a hard time, but like you got to do something that almost 100% of the fans who have something to say never got to do. And that was actually put on the uniform for the team that you all grew up watching.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. So
pretty dang cool.
Let's go ahead and take a look around the NFL. We got to get to this Shedeur Sanders story. I'm actually going to start with that one. So here's what happened. Joe Flacco has been benched, which makes sense. He's been playing horribly. And the Cleveland Browns defense has been great, so you want to try to figure out how to get something done offensively to kind of complement them. Shedeur Sanders was not chosen to take Flacco's place. Instead, that went to Dylan Gabriel, who was named the starter moving forward. So in the locker room for the Browns, normally reporters go in there, you ask some questions. Lots of reporters walked over to Shedeur to be able to ask him, hey, and by the way, that's not rude. That's not weird. Any single player, you're going to go up to him, hey, how's it feel to be benched? You're not going to ask that way. But
when it's an
how's
open
it feel to
locker
start?
room,
Those are common.
Everybody's fair game.
See it all the time. And kind of the unspoken rule is that when you're the player who wasn't started, you say something like, yeah, we're all in here rooting for Dylan. All of us are preparing to start every single week, so I know Dylan's prepared and, I got faith in this team, blah, blah, blah. It's a very standard answer. I've watched it a million times. Well, not from Shedeur, though, because instead he pretended to mime his answers.
Beg pardon?
Yes. If you look at the video without sound, which is what I did because any sound on my computer plays on air. So if you just watch it, it looks as though he's speaking. He's like pantomiming. If you listen to it. He's not actually talking.
There's nothing coming out of his mouth.
He's going through the motions of pretending he's talking. What point? This is definitely performance art.
Yeah, this is avant-garde performance art.
This is highbrow.
This is like method acting.
I'm impressed. I got to be really. This is very Joaquin Phoenix of him.
This is very Gen Z of him.
So what's this about?
I don't know. And I think this is the exact moment in time.
Kings and Queens
I think this is the exact moment in time where I'm all the way out on Shedeur Sanders. I thought maybe he could have done this, but look back in your mind. Can you ever see a Super Bowl winning quarterback miming answers to the media?
No.
Your mind doesn't let you go there. You know why? Because it's not possible. You cannot win a Super Bowl and mime your answers to the media.
Yeah. No, it is like
What
a
a
blatant.
joke.
It's a blatantly kind of. You're being childish about this.
Yes.
Now, people would take issue if Shedeur said, "I actually don't want to speak right now." People would rip him apart for it. They take issue with it, but I would respect that more than him miming answers. Now, Shedeur, you definitely think that you should be starting, and there are many people around the league that maybe think the exact same thing. In fact, when you slipped in the draft, now I'm talking to Shedeur, when he slipped in the draft, I was thinking like, man, I feel like some of these players taken before him aren't as good. Like he's getting knocks and you know what's going on. I felt like I was defending him. And I still think that. I still think that he is more talented than his draft stock. But that's not a good attitude to have. I'm sorry.
No.
That's an L.
That shows why teams were hesitant to draft him, because I think there was questions about the maturity.
That's immature.
I think there was questions about the work ethic. The talent is one of the most undeniable things about him. The problem is that he was playing for his dad, and people kind of wondered like, oh, is this real? And sure enough, like Colorado had success with Shedeur as their starting quarterback, but like, dude, it's the NFL, man. Like, you only have yourself to blame for why things have not panned out for you the way we all kind of thought they would.
You're acting like a child right now. Unless there's something I don't understand about this. And again, I have thought that he on draft day had an undue and unfair amount of criticism and trolling and prank calling, and it wasn't fun to watch. And yet, I think that this is unacceptable behavior. If I was a head coach, I'd be really disappointed.
Yeah. Well, and it's not fair to compare him to his dad, because his dad
is
accomplished so much more in the NFL. And
one of the best players ever.
Yeah, exactly. I could never see Deion Sanders doing this in an interview. And I just want to think,
if he did, you'd go, well, what am I going to do about it?
He's not
staying off the field. He's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best, most athletic players in a league full of athletes.
Sure, you're the third or fourth quarterback on the Browns
Let me tell you
chart?
what, Shiloh's going up the rankings right now, that's for sure. Here's Louis Riddick on what Shedeur needs to do to move up the depth chart.
He needs to make sure that he's just drilling down on his preparation and give them reason to say, hey, look, if something happens to Dylan, you know what? We can turn to Shedeur. We can have him be the backup, because these two are the future. And we know that Joe Flacco is probably going to, I don't want to speak for him. This may be his last year. And they probably want to see Shedeur at some point anyway, just to make sure that going into 26, they don't have to use, or maybe they don't have to use one of those first-round picks on a quarterback. So for him, I'm saying this. I don't know if they're trying to send him a message. I don't want to speak for the Browns, but the fact that they didn't elevate him, for him, I'm saying, okay, what do I need to do now? I need to drill down. That's for sure.
Now, maybe Shedeur is trying to say and miming his answers and not actually talking, that what he says doesn't matter. Like, I feel like there's some kind of message he's trying to send. I think doing it is irresponsible in terms of furthering his own career. Hey, Shedeur, right now, you're talented. You believe you're talented. Maybe other people don't. But we all saw a pretty talented arm in college. You're standing in your own way right now. This isn't about a team disrespecting you. This isn't about the league not believing in you. You are standing in your own way more than anyone else by having this kind of behavior in a league that still values pretty old school approaches to how you respond to adversity. It's not the move.
No.
All right.
You're not going to win in this. You got to approach every situation. Where is the win in it for me? Where is the win in it for the group? Where is the win in it for everybody? No one is going to win with you doing that, Shedeur. I'm sorry.
I love attitude with players, like quarterbacks or any player that, trash talks. Like, I never have an issue with it. And typically I bristle when people talk about like class or whatever, because it's always kind of coded. But this is a bad look. I'm moving on. Baker Mayfield was asked about his time playing with Sam Darnold on a really bad Carolina Panthers team in 2022.
Reminisce about the good old days in Carolina? What are you talking about?
Reminisce about what days?
Good old days in Carolina?
Oh, nope. No, we don't.
Nope.
Yeah, those Panthers teams were bad. They still are bad, but those ones were exceptionally bad. It's weird how the Panthers had both Darnold and Baker Mayfield in that quarterback room and could not do anything to save their lives back then. Like, you've got two guys now who are pretty entrenched starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and all of a sudden the Panthers are still wondering what they have in Bryce Young. It's year 3 of Bryce Young. I think I read the Panthers' record under David Tepper, their current owner, is like 37-80 something. Could you imagine being 50 games under 500 over the span of like a decade or whatever? That is so bad. That franchise was actually really good before Tepper got there.
Really good.
Yeah. Like, they had never won a Super Bowl, but they had been to the Super Bowl a couple of times.
Consistently solid, though. Always a tough play.
Yeah. You had Cam Newton, had a lot of talented players. Steve Smith, Julius Peppers. That franchise is in the
It was kind of like
doldrums
how
right
you
now.
saw the Steelers have a different kind of history, but like when there's a team where even in quote down years, you're like, oh, they're tough though. Tough to play.
Yeah. They were always going
not
to be
anymore.
a good game.
After already losing running back James Conner for the season, the Cardinals are now placing his backup, Trey Benson, on IR. Just bad luck. Bad injury news for a couple NFC West teams here.
Yeah, the Cardinals, I kind of wonder if that 2-0 start was a bit of a mirage because you played the Saints and the aforementioned Panthers, but you've got the Titans on Sunday. I do kind of wonder if Arizona's maybe going to start to see things ratchet up in terms of difficulty because they lost their 2 divisional games to the 49ers and Seahawks. Yes, they played both those teams close, but didn't come away with the victory. But yeah, Cardinals, I don't know if they're going to be able to improve upon what they did last year.
Sorry, I cannot get past the Shador story. I don't mean to circle back. I'm just still, now I'm going back and forth with.
It's hard to even believe.
I don't mean to. I saw it pop up on my timeline. Again, I'm talking to TJ in the 425 who said he knew his words were going to get twisted and misconstrued no matter what he said, so he didn't say anything. I understand it. Like, after thinking about it for the 5 minutes we were talking about it, I got it by the end of him saying, like, it doesn't matter what I say. It does not matter what I say. Why are you even asking me? But I can't stress enough, and maybe this is part of, like, new generations bring in change they want to see or change they believe or different kinds of behaviors when it comes to the league. But in all my time as a reporter, it's kind of just something you wear. No quarterback likes doing those interviews. And players' words are often misconstrued in those moments. It's not fair. He's a player that's very polarizing and has had many things misconstrued. It's not fair. I still think you need to answer. Or, and again, he would have been critiqued for this no matter what. Or say, you know what, can we talk about this tomorrow? I'm actually not really taking comments today. Just don't say anything.
It is an unserious response.
That's what it is. And this is a serious job.
Yeah.
So
you want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, you got to have people take you seriously. And this is something that nobody is going to, have your back on in terms of like, I think he handled this correctly.
The NFL is a different beast, man. It is. Everything is picked apart because everything carries so much weight. A quarterback ends up being the highest paid player on a team. His success, his impact is then very closely tied to real jobs, not just like a GM and a head coach, but OCs can get fired. Other players can get traded or released. Like, it matters what you do. So when teams try to dig through and find any kind of personality flaw with a player, it's because they don't want that. This is more of like a bad behavior as opposed to something deep.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's I think it's a professional, man.
Yeah.
You're in your 20s.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah. And he's been doing. Hey, Cleveland just hit a home run there. They have taken the lead. In, I think it's the 8th inning. Brian Rocchio.
Look at that.
Okay, maybe a game 3. Knock on wood.
That's good news for Seattle.
That's great news, hopefully, here. They just got to finish it off. But, yeah, Guardians have just taken the lead.
Leaning Guardians over Tigers?
I would rather see the Guardians than the Tigers, yes.
The Tigers just lost to the Guardians. I mean, they
Well,
could really lose. It's
not
still,
quite.
Game's still ongoing. Bottom of the eighth, one out.
2-1 Guardians here.
Interesting.
Hey, game 3 is what we're rooting for. Whether it's Cleveland or Detroit, you want to see them play another game so that neither team is fully rested coming into town.
All right, well, here's what's cool. By the final hour, we're entering into the final hour of the show. I'm guessing about 20 minutes into this one, we're going to figure out who the Mariners are actually going to be playing if the Tigers come back and win. If Cleveland finishes this out, they're up 2-1, bottom of the eighth, one out, then obviously there's a game 3, and we're going to talk about the implications of that when it comes to the ALDS, which begins on Saturday. Coming up next, though, talking Huskies, it's Washington Wednesday with On Montlake's Christian Caple.
Touchdown Seahawks!
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football.
Number 54, Bobby Wagner, linebacker, one of the finest of his generation. He set just about every tackling record that can be set. He was the heart and soul of one of the best defenses to ever play in the National Football League.
The Seahawks go for a 4th straight win, hosting Tampa Bay Sunday before the 12s. Kickoff at 1:05, pregame at 10 a.m.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Hi, I'm Justin Shirley. We offer 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 24 months on new roofs. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
This is for all you guys on Viagra. ED pills are no longer needed. The brutal side effects like 4-hour headaches, blurred vision, and that flush feeling can all be put behind you with our treatment. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. Guys, let me be clear. Pills will never fix your problem. Our equipment is the latest technology, and our medical staff is the best in the industry. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. If you suffer from ED or Peyronie's disease, give West Coast Men's Health a call today. It's not just about better health, it's about a better life.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Open enrollment for Medicare is coming up. Are you ready? Herb Weisbaum, the consumer man here. Get organized early with a Medicare Jumpstart Toolkit from the Insurance Commissioner's Sheba program. Order your free copy today at insurance.wa.gov.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Ooh, that face. Quantum Fiber Internet loves that face.
That's Jamila.
Hey, Jamila.
She's thinking outside the box from inside the box.
Quantum Fiber Wi-Fi keeps her meeting game strong. From the back door to the front lawn.
Rushing all of her video calls. Back to back to back video calls.
Quantum Fiber Internet blowing the soxies up all those people in all those boxes. Yay to you.
Switch today at quantumfiber.com. Additional pods may be needed to achieve Wi-Fi coverage in some locations. Limited availability. Service in select locations only.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Guardians are up 3-1 over the Tigers in Game 2 of their AL Wildcard Series. Bottom of the 8th one out right now. Winner will advance to play the Mariners in an ALDS that begins Saturday in Seattle. It will also play Sunday, and there was a TBD start time for that one that's now been determined. It's a 5:03 p.m. first pitch. Again, that's going to be Sunday. Seahawks game is going to be at 1:05 against the Bucks.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
Washington Wednesdays is powered by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
Washington Wednesdays, presented by Star Rentals, preferred supplier to the West's best contractors.
On Montlake's Christian Caple, joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Christian, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I mean, I'm going to be honest. A lot of my questions are more a look back for the Huskies at that game against Ohio State, but there's just a lot that I think we entered in wondering and maybe left learning. I'm going to start. What were some of your questions about this Huskies team entering that game?
Yeah, mostly I wanted to see how they held up in the trenches against an offensive line and a defensive line that's basically exclusively 4- and 5-star recruits. They don't see that a whole lot. Definitely hadn't seen anything near that in their first 3 games when they moved the ball really well offensively and were a little spotty at times defensively. I thought Ohio State clearly won that matchup, but the gulf there maybe wasn't as wide as it was like when they went to play Penn State last year, when they went to play Oregon last year. So I think they have a little ways to go, and this game showed that, but they've closed that gap a meaningful amount, I would say, over the offseason.
Christian, this is now your second year covering a Big Ten version of this Huskies team. I'm sure there have been some welcome to the Big Ten moments for you in covering this team. Where did Ohio State and just all that is Buckeye football, where did that rank in terms of like a welcome to the Big Ten moment for maybe this Huskies program and maybe for yourself as well?
Well, I think because they played, a big-time Big Ten legacy brand last year in Penn State on the road even, and it was their whiteout game even. I don't know that there could be much more of a welcome to the Big Ten moment than that. I mean, so far from home in the Eastern time zone, playing in front of 109,000, 110,000, whatever it was, who are all rooting against you. And by the way, your opponent's really good too. They got crushed in that game. It was just, they didn't belong on the same field as Penn State. So I think to have that atmosphere at home, I mean, historically, Husky Stadium, Husky fans have been fortunate that teams like Ohio State and Michigan and Miami and LSU and Nebraska and Oklahoma have agreed to home and homes with Washington. So there have been those opportunities. They're fewer and further between in the non-conference anymore, and we'll see how that changes going forward. But, yeah, I mean, seeing that physical challenge up close and also just the machinery that is Ohio State football, right? 15 to 20,000 fans or whatever. It's a big deal.
That defense is absolutely dominant, still haven't allowed a touchdown in the red zone. And I don't think I'm surprising anyone by saying I wasn't expecting Washington to win this one. However, I was pleasantly surprised when they were keeping it pretty close leading into the half. We're outgaining Ohio State through that first half, just 3 points to show for it. I wanted to talk about some of those decisions by Fish, starting with that fake field goal. What did you think about that one?
Yeah, it seemed odd. I mean, and it's easy to criticize risks that any coaching staff takes when the risk doesn't work. But to try to get 14 yards on a fake field goal on a throw by the kicker, that's a gamble. You're up 3-0, and I get that settling for a field goal against that defense feels like a loss when you've got a chance in the red zone. Their first possession more so because they got all the way to the 2-yard line. I mean, it's so hard to score touchdowns against Ohio State at all that you really feel like you got to take advantage of those opportunities. But, I think in a low-scoring, low-possession game like that, the play was probably to try to get up 6-0 instead of 3-0 so that consecutive touchdowns like Ohio State scored on the last possession of the first half and the first possession of the second half don't put you down 2 scores instead of 1. So, maybe they weren't thinking that way. But, yeah, that was a tough one.
Christian, what'd you make of Damon Williams' play on Saturday? First big test for him in his starting career with the Huskies. He played against Oregon last year as well, but this year, first big test. What'd you make of his play on Saturday?
Yeah, I thought he threw the ball really well. You saw him make some pretty accurate throws up the seam for the few big pass plays that they did have. Was accurate. 18 of 22. I think he completed 14 consecutive passes at one point. But, you also saw where he still needs to grow in terms of holding on to the ball or, really trying hard to not give up on a play or to make a play or to stay in the pocket rather than maybe just trying to throw the ball out of bounds and live to fight another down, so to speak. I don't think Jed Fish, and we've said this in a few games before, I don't think Jed Fish felt like they needed to take 6 sacks in that game. I think, as he pointed out, I think PFF only assigned 2 of those to blockers and only 1 to the offensive line. So, there's some room to grow there as far as, hey, an incompletion is not the end of the world, as Fish kind of says. So you definitely saw that show up at times. I don't know that any other defensive front is going to be fast enough to spy Damon Williams and limit his scrambling the way that Ohio State did. I mean, I thought that was really impressive. Marvell Reese at linebacker is especially, he's different. I don't know how many teams are going to have the personnel to kind of wrangle him the way Ohio State did. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of grows from that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality of college football, and this as well as anyone, is that there are just some teams that are always going to separate themselves. This time, though, it's with NIL money instead of just like excellent recruiting and history and a platform. So Ohio State's always going to get those guys, and the Bamas of the world, though maybe not as much anymore, are always going to have like the physical edge and the talent edge, especially in the trenches. I've been wondering though, it's not like the Washington that I've always watched has like been this like elite program, right? Like I saw them as a winless team, and I also saw them competing in a national championship. That being said, I wonder what the ceiling looks like in the Big Ten. What do you think Fish's plan is? Like, how does this kind of ramp up? Where does it go? What's your maybe couple-year outlook for UW look like in terms of how competitive they could get in this conference?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be one of a handful of teams who are probably going to set as a goal every year to try to finish around the top 4. Because I think if you do that in the 12-team era, whether those become automatic bids in the playoff or not, I should say 12-team or more era, I think everyone kind of expects the playoff to expand at some point. Mm-hmm. Whether those become automatic bids or not, like the top 4 teams in the Big Ten every year are going to have a shot to make the playoff. So I don't think you fixate too much on like what does it take to be in the Big Ten championship game or to win the league outright. Maybe there's years where they can feel like they can make a run at that, and maybe there's not. I think it's more about trying to be a top 4 team, trying to give yourself a chance that with a 9th or 10th win in November, you're making the playoff field, and that's kind of your annual goal for Washington. It doesn't mean that, you can't ever believe that you have a team that's capable of even more than that. Just 2 years ago, they played the national championship and made a 4-team playoff. So they know what's possible, but I think Jed Fish, in terms of resources, recruiting, NIL, revenue share plus outside, quote unquote, real NIL opportunities. He wants to get Washington to a point where if you want to go to Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, USC, Oregon, it's not because you can't get everything you need, both, program wise and financially at Washington, and get them to a point where, maybe they're never going to be fully competitive that way with like literally Ohio State, but maybe they're just a tier beneath that. And, I think their recruiting inroads they've made already kind of speak to that effort a little bit.
Christian, Jonah Coleman has gotten off to a really fast start this season. I believe he was leading the country in touchdowns heading into that Ohio State game with 9. Of all the Husky running backs you have seen in your years covering the team, where would you put him in terms of just overall talent?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, he's right up there. I've always, just in terms of like the last 20 years or so, I've always thought Myles Gaskin and Chris Polk were, just in terms of like the numbers combined with how impressive they were just watching them run, and very different, right? Chris Polk was pretty physical. Myles Gaskin could break tackles too, but he also really excelled with his vision and his patience. He just was such a natural at it. Jonah Coleman's kind of right with those guys, and he's even different from them, right? He is physical, but Myles Gaskin was a smaller back, and Coleman I think is even shorter, but he's such a bruiser too. Also with that good vision and the ability to find those cutback lanes. I think he's a little bit faster this year. I think he's in that top tier running backs. I didn't even mention Bishop Sankey, who set the single season rushing record for them. But as far as like fan favorite, like just, hey, I really enjoy watching that guy run type of player. I think it's like Jonah Coleman, Myles Gaskin, and Chris Polk in my mind.
Apologies if I'm just like way behind on this one and the news has since come out, but you had Carver Willis and Zach Durfee leave the game. Do we know what's going on with either of those guys?
Not with any more clarity than what we had on game day, other than, Jed Fish said after the game that it was an elbow injury for Zach Durfee and a knee injury for Carver Willis. I know Durfee was in a sling on the sidelines late in that game, so I don't think that looks too good. I did see Carver Willis walking around. He was out of uniform for the second half of that game. He didn't have a brace or a cast or crutches or anything like that. He was walking freely, maybe limping a little bit. So Fish didn't have much of an update on those guys on Monday. My sense is that they don't expect either to play this week at the very least. Okay.
Christian, the Huskies make a cross-country trip on Saturday to Maryland, and Maryland not necessarily a football power, but they're off to a really good start this season, 4-0, and their defenses look really good in those 4 games, including a big road win at Wisconsin back on September 20th. What kind of challenges do the Terps present here on Saturday?
Yeah, you definitely circled this before the season if you're looking for their likely Big Ten wins, but I think Maryland has exceeded expectations so far. Malik Washington, their freshman quarterback, hasn't been the most accurate thrower in the Big Ten, but still makes plays, and they have not been afraid to put the ball in his hands. I think they're rank in the hundreds in FBS in rush attempts per game, and so they're definitely asking him to throw the ball. It's not just a true freshman who's, trying to just make it through. And they got some freshman edge rushers who've been really productive too. I think they're 8th in the country in interceptions and 6th in sacks, and they're top 10 in scoring defense, and they're playing really well. strength of schedule has not been particularly impressive, but no Maryland team is ever going to turn up its nose at winning 27-10 at Wisconsin. I think that was their first conference road victory since 2023. So they are feeling really good about themselves for sure. They had a week off, so 2 weeks to prepare for this game, unbeaten at home. I think it's going to be a big challenge.
Not to circle back once again to Ohio State, but it's for good reason. I was impressed with the defensive performance. There was the Jeremiah Smith touchdown, which you didn't love, weren't able to get home on that one, but hey, it's Jeremiah Smith. So what have you seen from Ryan Walser's defense as a whole? And what's maybe a question you have as we head into the next couple games here?
Yeah, I think I'm wondering, first of all, if and when they're going to get Tacario Davis back at corner. I think a lot of people were hoping to kind of see him go against Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate in that game, but it sounds like he's still coming off a rib injury. I thought I was expecting to see a tweak or two schematically against Ohio State, and that's what happened. They rolled with 3 safeties for most of that game, putting true freshman Ryland Dillard Allen on the field with their starters Mikel Esteen and Alex McLaughlin. And as they put it, tried to keep a roof on the defense and really, I think you saw for the first time this year, dedicate even more bodies to the secondary and try to really force Ohio State to finish drives and take underneath throws. I don't think Julian Sand had a single attempt longer than 20 yards, which might have been by design on Ohio State's part too, but Washington was just fine with that. You're going to have to see them get a pass rush now with even less bodies than they came into the season with Durfee out. They were already missing Russell Davis II. Jacob Lane's having a good year, the junior from Puyallup, leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss. But otherwise, they really have not got a lot of production out of the edges. I think that's something I'm kind of looking for. And then, I thought they defended the run pretty decent against Ohio State, all things considered. I'm interested to see if they can keep that up as Big Ten play progresses, as teams, do run the ball week in, week out, and maybe some of the mileage adds up a little bit.
Excellent coverage from Christian, as always, at Christian Caple and then on montlake.com. Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Christian.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one. The Mariners need you at T-Mobile Park this week to help the squad prepare for the ALDS. Be here and bring the energy for tomorrow's postseason scrimmage. It's going to be at 5 p.m., and tickets are available. They're just $10. They're on sale now at mariners.com/scrimmage. Mariners really trying to get a big crowd going there for that one.
Guardians way up now on the Tigers.
Wow.
6-1.
Do you want to do your score break? Okay.
6-1. Top of the 9th. Tigers do have 2 runners on with 1 out in the inning. It looks like there's some stirring going on in Cleveland's bullpen, but it would appear as of now there is going to be a game 3 in this series tomorrow.
We are going to get to 4-down territory in a second. Can we stick with this conversation for 2 minutes?
Sure.
Just because you've been talking all week long and doing plenty of your own research and great with baseball anyways about kind of a matchup that's favorable to Seattle. Now, earlier in the show, when I was talking about being a little bit nervous about just the ALDS in general because there's so much at stake, I got someone texting in saying, oh, you're being a negative Nancy. You need to whatever. And I was saying, look, this is my first time watching this team with this kind of expectation. Yeah, it's the first time that I can remember doing that. So this is it's interesting to cover. And I feel like sometimes with this team, it's like I'm a reporter with the Seahawks, but then I go halfway between. I'm not really a beat reporter for the Mariners. So there's this weird fear that you have that just doesn't exist in the same way with the NFL. But I wanted to ask you about favorable matchups based on the outcome of this, about what people should be rooting for, and about the advantage, maybe ending with a silver lining, that Seattle might have over either of these clubs.
Yeah, I think when you look at what Cleveland brings to the table, it's not necessarily as intimidating as what the Tigers could potentially do, especially if the Tigers are at full health and they're just playing their best baseball, which – they've only scored now, 3 runs in this series against Cleveland, which kind of makes you wonder, what is going on with the Tigers' bats now in this series. But again, Skubal being what he is as a pitcher, that's always going to be the first thing on your mind when you think of the Detroit Tigers. Looks like there's 2 outs now here in the top of the 9th. Cleveland with an opportunity to force a game 3 here, up 6-1 right now. But in terms of what Cleveland is as a team offensively, 6 runs for them is a lot. That is not something they're going to be putting up on the scoreboard quite often, and it took quite the outburst in the bottom of the 8th for them to get those 5 runs that they pushed across.
Okay, so why am I seeing so many people on the text line saying I'd rather face the Tigers?
I don't know why. I mean, I get that they're ice cold in the month of September, like, sure, but I'm telling you, you don't want anything to do with Derek Skubal opposite of your team twice in a 5-game series. You know how many wins?
Stress it enough.
You know how many wins it takes to win a 5-game series? 3.
Do you think people are leaning too much on the Mariners having beat up on the Tigers in their last series?
Yes,
especially
absolutely.
with Skubal starting. They had a good day against Skubal.
Well, they beat Skubal twice this year.
Yeah.
The first time it was a pitcher's duel. It was Skubal against Luis Castillo that day. The Mariners were kind of scuffling coming into that one. J.P. Crawford hit a big, I want to say, like 3-run double in that game, and that was like the only run-scoring hit the Mariners had off of Derek Skubal that day. The second time they faced him was a Friday night Apple TV game right before the All-Star break. Cal Raleigh hit 2 home runs that day. I don't know if either of them came off Skubal, but the Mariners ended up scoring like 12 runs that day. They poured it on at the end, I think in the 8th and 9th inning, coming up with a ton of runs in that one. But, yeah, if you can avoid Derek Skubal, that is the route you want to take. Yeah. Cleveland doesn't have Derek Skubal. Gavin Williams is good, but he's not Skubal.
Looking very much like we will not know the Mariners' opponent for the ALDS at the end of this one. Again, bases are loaded for the Tigers, top of the 9th, 2 outs. Who's up? I'm not sure who's up. I have game day open. But bases are loaded right now. So a chance
even a grand slam wouldn't give the Tigers a tie game.
But then if you get another grand slam, you know what I mean? You need to think. You look at it a bit differently.
Had a chance to end it there. I think it's Rocchio bobbled it at second base, looking to get the easy out.
Yeah, I had written down for 1:30. The Mariners have an opponent. I don't know that they do yet.
Probably
I think
not.
We're still waiting on this one again. Cleveland up 6-1. Let's do a very, very, very fast forward on territory. We'll just stick with the first 2 here.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game. What former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down to you, Stacy. What is a surprising stat you saw about the Seahawks through their first 4 games?
Now, if you had to guess whether the Seahawks ranked in the top 5 in penalties committed this year, where would you guess they rank? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I would say
5, 4.
3?
Yeah. No, they're near the bottom of the league. Shocking, I know. The Seahawks and Steelers have among the fewest number of penalties committed through 4 weeks of the season. And I'm not saying that the Seahawks are often the most penalized team, period. I think last year it might have been the Ravens, but we're also not used to them playing like the cleanest version of football. And I think typically that also happens to teams. It is tough to play defense. I'm sorry. Defensive players are right. It's hard to play defense. It's hard to be physical. You'll get flagged for all kinds of dumb roughing the passer calls. And normally that's how the Seahawks try to play. So, yeah, they do rack up a couple penalties over the year. But no, they're actually one of the least penalized teams in the league. And that surprised me.
Second down. All right, Stacy, tell us something interesting about the Seahawks pass game in the red zone.
So JSN, I'm going to start with just his target share, and then I'll get to the red zone. JSN has a 40% target share overall. 40% of Sam Darnold's passes go to JSN. However, he has a 25% share in the red zone. That's still a really healthy share of targets in the red zone, but I think it also speaks in part to the way the Seahawks are playing offense this year. And we have a final there in Cleveland with the Guardians beating the Tigers 6-1, so there will be a game 3. So you have Sam Darnold with a 12.9 yards per completion, meaning some of the touchdowns they've had have been outside of the red zone, so it doesn't even matter. You also have a team that runs the ball more than almost anyone else. Their run versus pass play favors the run more than anyone except for the Eagles. So them and the Eagles are running it more than anyone. But I think it also speaks to an offense that's been spreading the ball around a ton. JSN, second in receiving yards in the league, has a touchdown. A.J. Barner has 2. Torrey Horton has 2. I'd love to see Elijah Arroyo get 1 against the Buccaneers, and frankly, I think he might. I think he will get 1 against the Buccaneers. So it's been an effort to spread the ball around in the red zone. Even if JSN is dominating between the 20s and moving the chains, it's been kind of fun to see. This is something Bob Condotta, we talked to him before the season started, said, I expect they're going to be pretty democratic with their efforts there, and they have been.
Third down or what's on tonight?
Let's go what's on tonight. I don't know if we have enough time.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Game 2 between the Reds and Dodgers airs immediately following Wyman and Bob. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on Seattle Sports. Man, I love playoff baseball. We had the Red Sox I know. We had the Red Sox beating the Yankees yesterday. Those two face off again for Game 2 coming up at 3 p.m. Cleveland Guardians just took a win in Game 2, so it's now 1-1. That series split heading into Game 3. Winner goes on to face the Mariners, and you have Cubs-Padres facing off right now in a game that began at noon. It's nonstop.
I hope every series goes to 3 games. That'd be great.
Nonstop.
So we have another full day of baseball tomorrow.
Well, I don't know if the Reds are going to.
No, I don't think that one's happening.
I don't know if that one's happening.
Can hope.
Still a fun play-by-play, though. Good games all day long. All right, coming up next, the Yankees, speaking of the Yankees, are taking another L, but it's not on the field.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
Start having fun. Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot. We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. In the past 5 years, we've seen thousands of men at our clinics. Most guys tell us the same story, that in their early 50s, it's not that they couldn't function, they just needed help. They started taking Viagra, and it worked great at first. But after a few years, it stopped working. The problem is that their arteries had become more restricted since they started taking it, because Viagra does not unclog arteries. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we use acoustic wave therapy to target the real problem. We break down plaque and clear up the arteries so blood can flow like it did in your 20s. This restores function. And guys, listen to this. You won't have to take a pill anymore. So if this sounds like you, give West Coast Men's Health a call today and see how we can help.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
This is the home of the Seahawks.
Going to let one fly deep. Got a man out there. Ball is caught down at the 10-yard line, and it's JSN.
Seattle Sports.
At 65 years old, Brian has a rather demanding hobby.
My biggest passion is snow skiing, and I ski between 70 and 80 days per year. And I ski instruct at a private resort in Montana.
Needless to say, that can be a bit tough on the joints.
When this knee started to bother me, I thought I'm doomed.
That's when Brian decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
If I did yard work or skied a few days in a row, I was fighting swelling and pain and no sleep and all sorts of problems, and that has absolutely gone away.
So are you back on the slopes?
I mean, I had a 14-day stretch with clients where I skied every day and had no problem. It was fine. It was just like, I felt like new.
So I'm guessing you would recommend this to others.
Oh, I already have. I've told everyone that'll listen.
Whether it's a shoulder, hip, or knee, before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
It's really, truly a miracle.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Saturday, October 4th through October 19th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Saturday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder and equal housing opportunity builder.
When it comes to the security of your business, doubts can creep in about who you're trusting to protect it. Are they a reliable service? How will I know if something happens? Are they keeping everyone safe? At Bay Alarm, we got you. For nearly 80 years, we've been putting our customers' minds at ease with our advanced technology and personalized support. Feeling insecure about your current security service? Visit bayalarm.com today to talk to a local security expert.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
Around the MLB with Curtis Rogers.
In Cleveland, the Guardians, with a 5-run 8th inning, polish off the Tigers in Game 2 of their 3-game series. Tomorrow will be Game 3 between Cleveland and Detroit, with the winner facing your Seattle Mariners. Back to you, Stacy Ross.
Thanks so much, Curtis. And thank you, Matt, for turning around the NFL into around the MLB. But people will tell you not to say the, so you might get flagged for that one. But it was beautiful producing. Good work. And yes, Curtis is right. Tigers Guardians is wrapped up for Game 2, and the Guardians take that game to make the series go to 3, which, as you said, Curtis, is great news for the Mariners. And I think most people probably rooting for the Guardians here. They just don't have as much pop in their lineup. Their offense outside of Jose Ramirez isn't as great as the Tigers are on paper. Both teams have weaknesses. And hey, so do the Mariners. Okay, this is anyone's game right now. But I like the Mariners' chances against either of these teams. I think I am favoring Cleveland, though.
Go Cleveland.
Glow Cleveland.
Glow Cleveland.
Let's get to the other team happening in the other two teams playing in the AL wildcard, that being the Red Sox and Yankees. I have two stories here. First, Garrett Crochet was dominant in the Red Sox Game 1 win over the Yankees. Also went really deep into the game, which is very old school. Credit to him. I know some of the old heads out there were loving that he was pitching well into that game. Didn't go out after 6. Playoff baseball, baby. So it's a Game 1 win over the Yankees. Boston manager Alex Cora post-game said that Crochet called his shot.
It started yesterday. We were joking around that for some reason our front office was in the bullpen checking something over there, and he was in the dugout with me, and I told him we should call the bullpen, and he's like, tomorrow you're going to make one call to the bullpen. I say maybe 2. He's like, no, 1. It's going to be straight to Chappie. I'm like, okay, I'll take that, and that's how it worked out.
And it was absolutely
Not
right.
bad.
Only used 2 arms. I mean, counting Crochet's. So really, really impressive. This was Garrett after the game.
Just being arrogant, to be honest. I didn't actually expect that to be the case, but when he sent me back out there, I was determined to leave it that way.
I love Garrett Crochet. Just I didn't actually mean that when I said it. I was not expecting this game.
I was just, giving Alex Cora a hard time, but credit to him for calling his shot. And I mean, what was it, Aaron Judge, after the game said that's the best pitcher in baseball right there, which, I mean, Aaron Judge knows hitting better than anybody. So if he says that's the best pitcher in baseball, he's probably not wrong. What was it, 11 strikeouts over 8 innings of work last night for Crochet?
Also shut down 17 in a row, so he gives up that home run to Volpe, and then 17 at-bats, nothing, and then a single to Volpe. So it's just bookmarked.
Which is hilarious because Volpe is probably the worst bat in that Yankees lineup, and that was the guy who got to Crochet last night. But man, he was dominant, and I'm glad that when you look at the Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, that trio of teams coming from the AL East, I love that the Mariners are only going to potentially, if all goes well in the division series, potentially only have to play one of them, and like go beat up on each other. American League East teams. I love that.
You know, I don't know. It's interesting, too. We talked about this a ton with Jordan Shusterman earlier, but since expanded playoffs, when you have these specific wild card series, the winners of game 1 have gone on to win the series every single time. And then there's this other interesting stat Jordan said about that actually, more often than not, the road team has ended up winning those series. What if we end up seeing the Guardians and Yankees advance, and for the first time, you get the winners of game 2. I mean, for that matter, the Padres are up on the Cubs right now.
They are.
So what if for the first time, after going 12 of 12 and game 1 winners advancing from the wild card round, you end up getting just the Dodgers?
All the opposites?
Yeah.
That'd be, that would not surprise me because it's baseball, right? Like the unexpected always happens. Just checking in on this Padres-Cubs game. Padres with the 1-0 lead in the top of the 5th. Dylan Cease was already pulled from the game as the starting pitcher from the Padres because it looked like the Cubs were threatening there, and obviously they wanted to this is a winner-go-home game for the Padres. And that is just kind of a prime example of why managing in the postseason and managing just any of these games is so much more different once October hits compared to July and August. And the Padres brought in their high leverage guy, Adrian Morjan, who has been dominant this year in relief, the lefty with a 2.08 ERA. Bringing your high leverage guy in the 5th inning or in the 4th inning.
Here's my question. I think that's interesting. I think I'd do it. Maybe not the 4th, but I get the idea of like, hey, have Andres come in the 7th if that's when you're facing the heart of the lineup. Okay, I'd rather have that than Munoz facing batters 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Separate conversation. What I want to talk about, though, is management styles. I think one thing people have said about Dan Wilson is he kind of goes with his gut, and maybe because of that doesn't always have the best feel of when to take a starter out of the game. That's just been a critique that I've seen.
Yeah.
However, conversely, Aaron Boone, not only last night, but in general, has been critiqued for, well, what if he and the Yankees lean too much on analytics and lean too much on just listening to people in the front office telling them when to do things? Like that's, I think, far and away been the primary critique of Aaron Boone.
Well, because the Yankees didn't have Chisholm or Rice in their lineup last night, 2 guys who have been really good this year. And then they took Max Fried out after just like 100 pitches.
Which is, I would argue, a decision Dan wouldn't have made based on how he's managed this year. So where's like the happy medium between you're trying to get the right feel for when to pull the plug on someone, bench someone, do whatever, but also you aren't leaning entirely into going against your gut.
Yeah, I think when moves like that are made, when you see a high leverage guy come in the 4th inning of a playoff game when it's just 1-0, and Dylan Cease is a really accomplished pitcher, one of the best arms that the Padres have, like that to me is kind of like the perfect combination of gut and also analytics in that spot, because at that point in the game, those are the most important at bats. Yes, it is in the bottom of the 4th inning when that move got made, but let's say the Cubs in that spot hit a 3-run home run. Like all of a sudden now you're playing from behind, and all of a sudden now it's going to get really tough for your team the rest of the way in order to make things happen. Yeah, it was Suzuki was on second, and then Carson Kelly was intentionally walked, runners on 1st and 2nd, needing that final out of the inning. Pete Crow Armstrong was up, the lefty. They bring in Morjan, and he gets the out. Instead of the lefty-righty matchup with PCA taking on Dylan Cease. You've got to be able to have the courage to make a move like that, and then also have the faith in your bullpen that they're going to be able to get you, 5 full innings of work after this inning is over against a pretty potent Cubs lineup. That takes guts, and it'll be interesting to see, how Dan Wilson's able to kind of manage all those situations, because he has the most playoff experience, maybe of anybody in the Mariners organization, because he went 4 times as a player. I know Robles has a World Series ring. He got that with the Nationals. Naylor's been 3 times in his career, but very few guys have been, as much as Garver has a World Series ring too with the Rangers. So he's played in some pretty big games in his time. But what Wilson was able to do as a player, it's a much different viewpoint than being the guy that's calling the shots.
Let me get to our last story here to pay off on this tease, and because I think you'll like it. In addition to an actual L yesterday, the Yankees are taking another one. They're reportedly blocking customers with Massachusetts addresses from getting tickets to Game 2 and a potential Game 3 of their wildcard series against Boston. Mike Francesca not happy with the Yanks' decision on his Tuesday show.
This is New York. You don't do this. This isn't some third-rate franchise that got in the postseason and doesn't want to be overwhelmed by the big city fans coming in and spending their money like the Yankees do when they go on the road. Oh, we haven't seen that forever. You don't see New York fans plastered in the first 5 rows in every stadium for the Yankees and the Mets every single time. How many Met fans were in Florida last weekend rooting for the Mets? How many Yankee fans are on the road game after game and, yes, revels in showing you the Yankee jerseys, and the Yankee fans have stormed the building. And now the Yankees, the mighty Yankees, are going to block fans from coming in to a New York venue for a postseason game. They have now stooped to that level. They have shrunk to that kind of franchise.
Have some self-respect, blocking New England addresses from trying to get tickets to this game. And Mike Francesca, I think fairly, and look, if anyone's got grounds to say something, it's him, says, what are you doing?
I'm with him on this one, because the Yankees historically have had one of the biggest traveling parties of any team. Every time they are here in Seattle, you get a big mix of Mariners fans, but then also people wearing pinstripes. They overtake every stadium they're in. But then the chance of having Yankee Stadium overran by Red Sox fans, that's too much for them to handle.
Come on.
Give me a break.
Be real.
Give me a break.
Again, that game on at 3. Hawks Live is back, and you can join Michael Bumpus and Ray Roberts tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. at Bellevue Square Center Court for a live broadcast and preview of this week's game versus the Bucks, plus a visit from tight end Elijah Arroyo. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. It's a free event, Bellevue Square Center Court. There will also be a chance to win tickets to this Sunday's game. What a fun place to be. Learn more at seattlesports.com/events. What I need to know coming your way next. Get your questions in. Any question that's top of mind for you right now. 866-979-3776. Text now. That's coming up next on your home for the AL West champion Mariners, Seattle Sports, and the Seattle Sports app.
Touchdown Seahawks!
Celebrating 50 years of Seahawks football.
Number 54, Bobby Wagner, linebacker, one of the finest of his generation. He set just about every tackling record that can be set. He was the heart and soul of one of the best defenses to ever play in the National Football League.
The Seahawks go for a 4th straight win, hosting Tampa Bay Sunday before the 12s. Kickoff at 1:05, pregame at 10 a.m.
On the home of the Seahawks, Seattle Sports.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these 3 books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident book series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan Wealth, 206-466-3300. That's 206-466-3300.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Hey, man. Gaining weight? Low energy? Lost drive? It could be your testosterone. Revive Men's Health Washington helps men get their edge back. Meet Tyler, Revive Men's Health Director of Operations.
When men start treatment, it's not just their labs that change. You see it in their posture, their energy, and how they walk into the room. That's why I do what I do.
Call 206-529-1111 now to book your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation. That's 206-529-1111. Or schedule anytime at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This is where you hear your AL West champion Mariners in the playoffs. Seattle Sports.
Does your yard need shade, privacy, or a little brightening up? Look no further than Big Trees. I'm Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. At our 30-acre location, there are thousands of trees to choose from and knowledgeable staff, including a board-certified master arborist, to help you find exactly what you're looking for. Visit the nursery and learn more about Big Trees at BigTreeSupply.com.
With football season comes colder weather, so if you need new windows and doors, don't drop the ball. Steve Rabel here with Keith Dashafee from locally owned Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. So Keith, what's your next big play?
Well, Steve, right now get 40% off qualifying installs or no payments and no interest for 12 months on approved credit.
Schedule a free consultation with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Go to PellaPNW.com. That's PellaPNW.com.
Now is your time to get into a new D.R. Horton home by taking advantage of its National Red Tag Sales event this Saturday, October 4th through October 19th. Stop by any of its participating communities and find select Red Tag homes at incredible pricing. So whether you're buying your first home or looking for an upgrade, you don't want to miss the Red Tag Sales event starting this Saturday. Discover the D.R. Horton difference at drhorton.com. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Luxury has arrived at Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel. It's Mike Salk here. You can book now for an unforgettable experience. Let's talk about Hawks Peak. It is the place to be for game days this football season. With over 66 TVs, indoor-outdoor concept, the deck is covered and it's heated as well. And the food, oh man, it was excellent. All with breathtaking views of the Cascades and the Snoqualmie Valley. Yep, you can go to snocasino.com. Seattle's closest is now Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know. 866-979-3776. Text your questions now. Any question. What I need to know. Who do you want to throw out the first pitch? I think we've gotten a similar one.
Yeah, I think Ichiro might be the choice. I don't know who else. I mean, if Ken Griffey's there.
This is what I think. This is my theory.
Yeah.
I think that given the record that Cal Raleigh broke this year, that they're going to have Griffey throw out the first pitch to Cal. And normally your starting catcher wouldn't actually catch, but that's my theory of what they either should or will do.
I think you could be onto something.
Yeah, that just
Kevin
makes
Martinez
sense.
texted us.
Listen,
we
I
won't
think
tell anybody.
in another life I was a marketing professional, and in another life I was one of those PR fix-it people, and in another life I was an expert apology statement writer for people.
Are you gonna have to write one for the WNBA commissioner now?
There's nothing I can do to save Kat.
I don't think it's gonna work.
I think Kathy's. I think she's done there. How's the fantasy team looking this year, Stacy? That's a real question, and I'm so glad you asked. So in the League of Corruption, shout out League of Corruption. I'm undefeated.
Really?
Yeah. My average finish in the league, despite working in sports, is 9th.
Out of
this year
20 teams.
This year 14, but usually around 12. So I'm very bad at fantasy football. I don't know I'm just bad at fantasy football. There's a special math to it that I haven't cracked. This year, though, best team in the league. I'm dominant. I'm a dynasty.
Wow.
I mean, it's 4
Congrats
games.
to you.
Yeah, thank you.
The quarter mark champions.
Yeah. My other league that I'm the commissioner of, I have not won yet.
It all balances out.
Yeah. No one cares about my fantasy team, so I'm moving on. Would you rather see the Mariners win in 3, you just knock it out, or win in front of a home crowd in 5? So win that third one in Detroit, it's a sweep, you're ready, or come back at home for a stressful Game 5.
I'd much rather them see you win a series in 3 games on the road.
Yeah.
Just get it out of the way.
And
get some extra rest.
I was going to say a bit of extra rest. Don't have to burn through as many bullpen arms to add as many innings to those guys. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure not every playoff series the Mariners won because I forgot about the wild card round in 2022. I was going to say every playoff series they've ever won has been clinched at home, but because 95, the division series, 97, they didn't win a series. 2000, they won the division series. 2001, they won the division series, all clinched at home.
What was the last team? It would have had to be recent because of the expanded wild card, but what was the last team to go 3-5-7?
I don't know if anybody's gone 3-5-7 yet in order to get to the World Series. Like if anybody's played the maximum amount of games.
Yeah.
I know
and then a max in a World Series.
I know the Texas Rangers won the World Series in 5 games.
Or like a full series each time, just each round.
It's been a long time. I want to say
I know the Rangers.
It might have been, was it the Guardians in 2016, but they lost the World Series.
If anyone knows.
Yeah.
There's probably a reason it hasn't happened.
I know the Red Sox in 2007. No, they didn't go to a 7th game of the World Series. They won it, I think, in 4. It's been a minute since we've seen a team play the maximum amount of games possible.
What's your October? Fittingly, this question. What I need to know, says the 206. What's your first round draft pick Halloween candy? It's Reese's.
Yeah, Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, that is like the. Well, it's not Arch Manning, but that is the obvious candidate, the Trevor Lawrence. Forget what their careers became or the questions that you might have, but that was like the everyone knew day one of his freshman year. You know what? Yeah, that's where things get messy. But no, it was a lock, an absolute. Like this guy's obviously it with Reese's Cups.
Now
I have my second pick, but now we're getting into philosophy.
But it also might go. I would do Reese's Pumpkins after that.
Yeah, something about the special shapes they have. I feel like there's more peanut butter.
Well, and you know they're fresh because they're not making Reese's Pumpkins in April.
Oh.
They're not making them in May.
I'll eat a Reese's Cup from the
October.
90s today. They're so good. What's your second pick? Because now we're getting into you're either a GM that wants to spread it around and get like hard candy or something fruity, or you're a GM that knows exactly what your identity is and you go chocolate.
Our identity is built in chocolate. Chocolate is the run game of football.
Oh, the solid foundation.
I'm going to go with those little fun-size Snicker bars.
Just a fun size?
Well, full size, yes.
Yeah, go big or go home.
But when in my mind, when I envision
You're thinking Halloween candy.
I imagine a candy you can grab a handful
Yeah,
of.
so my second one, bit of a controversial, like taking a running back too early is what I've done here, but I am going with Twix. Twix is one of my all-time favorites, and no one's gonna like me saying this. No one's gonna like what I'm about to say, but peppermint patties would be around 5.
Okay, that's.
I don't care.
Round 5?
I don't care. I'll take a center second overall.
I don't need mint in
I'll
my
take a
Halloween
guard.
basket.
I'm taking that peppermint patty. It's not going 3rd or 4th, but it's going 5.
I think
Matt
she's
looks
right.
upset.
I think that's drafting a kicker. That's drafting a
Clock
punter.
it. No, that's no, kicker punter is like, the Tootsie Rolls that are off-brand Tootsie Rolls and they're like vanilla, raspberry, orange flavored? That's a kicker. No offense to kickers.
We used to have a bunch of peppermint patties up at the front desk, and they had to stop stocking them because I just ate one every single time I walked by.
847 wants to know if you guys are talking about the York ones or Junior Mints.
Absolutely not Junior Mints. That's disgusting. I'm talking about York peppermint patties.
I like them both, but York is better.
Yeah, distinct difference there. York peppermint patties are amazing. I would eat a whole bag.
How about I just get you guys toothpaste? It's the same thing.
I like peppermint. I'm not mad about it. You know what else is?
That is such a juvenile opinion on flavors.
Yeah. You know
it just
what's
tastes like toothpaste.
Not top 5, but still up there. 3 Musketeers.
Okay, I ain't
You're in
following
the
you on that.
minority here.
Just nougat.
Yeah, it's good. It's soft. It's
Three
nice. It's like a
Musketeers
cloud.
Are the candy bar of old people.
Someone said, what did you do with Bump? Bump
He's
was
back
out to start
tomorrow.
the week. He's back tomorrow, and we have the huddle tomorrow also. So we're going pretty heavy Seahawks, but man, are we going to have some more baseball to talk about. Yeah, Ryan Rowland-Smith. You're going to have Yankees Red Sox in a little over, 2 hours? Couple hours here. And then Reds Dodgers later. Padres Cubs right now. Lots of stuff happening. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
You're right, Stacy.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
It's an interesting game, Dave, in Arizona, as it always is. It looked really one-sided. It looked like they were going to blow the doors off this Cardinals team. I mean, it was a tale of 3 quarters and 1 quarter.
Honestly, before the game, I was like, this could be a blowout. And it was headed that way, but then they just kind of let them back in. So, yeah, there were some things to not like there, but on the road against an NFC West opponent, I thought it was a good, solid win.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with a Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit DanielNelsonMD.com. That's DanielNelsonMD.com.
Contractors and heavy equipment operators, get ready for a big one. The James D. Murphy Company brings you the huge Marysville Heavy Equipment, Contractors Equipment, Trucks, and Vehicles online auction. Bidding opens Thursday, October the 2nd at 10 a.m. and starts closing Thursday, October 9th at 10 a.m. On the auction block, 10 excavators, including a 2021 Komatsu PC88MR and a 2018 Komatsu PC238, a 2017 Komatsu WA320-8 wheel loader, a 2003 John Deere 770 OCH motor grader, plus 4 backhoes, 3 reach lifts, and 4 boom lifts. There's 5 dump trucks, including a 2015 Peterbilt 367 Super Solo and 2 Western Star quad-axle roll-off trucks, and much more. Preview all equipment Tuesday, October 7th and Wednesday, October the 8th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at our Marysville yard, 3803 136th Street Northeast in Marysville. Get all details now at murphyauction.com.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.